What's going on, guys? We're here. We're live. Welcome to a special nightclub edition of the Poker Life podcast. My name's Sean, your one, aka Chicago Joey. Guys, find the podcast on iTunes, search Poker Life. Got a schedule coming up here. We got a BBV legend Grimstar going to be on the podcast tomorrow. Very older school poker player who had hundreds and thousands and potentially $1 million swings online, and now he's living in New York City. He's a younger kind of guy, and I think he's crazy. So he's going to be on the podcast tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Friday, I'm having my buddy Dylan, Dylan Weissman, longtime PLO player, posts on 2+2 as cookies. He now works with a startup. He's one of the smartest kids I know. He did a bunch of data analytics stuff. I just love talking to him, so we're going to get him on the podcast. We're going to have William Kassouf on next Monday. Obviously, William Kassouf is the most famous poker player in the world now. And we're going to have Joe McKeon on next week as well, too, World Series Poker Main Event champion. Week before November 9, we're going to have Kenny Helyard on, who's at the final table. And we should have a couple other November 9ers on the podcast for November 9 week. And fuck it, man. That's it. Let's get into it, man. Joining us on the podcast today is a young man who can't remember a text conversation about a time that me and him picked apparently, and his way of voicing that is by making a tweet that says, "Oh, that's today." Mr. Big Time over here, a man who's been known to fire some shots at people when he may not necessarily agree with their stance on things, a man that's been known to be joining the entrepreneur lifestyle and trying to be more like his idols who are in the poker world. We got Jason Mo, aka Cunty Kicks 123 in the house. What's up, puppy? What's going on?
How's it going, buddy? It's been a while. It actually hasn't been that long, but yeah.
Listen, I got to balance. I got to keep it balanced. If I do like 8 politically correct podcast guests, I got to have on 1 non-politically correct podcast guest. You know, I can only handle so much. It's going great, Jason. I'm excited. I'm just loving things right now. It's awesome.
I was actually thinking about this. This might be my last visit to the podcast, maybe forever, maybe in a while.
Why?
It's the Poker Life podcast, and I'm all about the entrepreneur in that life.
We're getting into the entrepreneur life, kid. We're gravitating to that side of things. We can have a whole entrepreneur conversation if you want.
You need to start an Entrepreneur Life podcast, and then I'd be on. But
what about just the GTO Life podcast, where I have people from all sorts of walks of the world on?
Yeah, you could do that.
So wait, are you not going to pay attention to poker anymore?
No, I will a little, but I'm phasing myself out.
You realize we don't even have to talk poker on the podcast, right?
Oh, yeah,
I had my little brother on. We didn't talk poker. We talked about being self-confident around 17-year-old girls.
Yeah, but we're probably going to talk a little poker. I assume that's why you hit me up and wanted me on.
I don't know, man. I just hit you up because I always want to have you on. I have fun having you on. You say some fun things. I enjoy the conversation. We get to fire some shots at some people. I get to stand behind you with the vest on, and I get to fire a background shot. And
all right, well, let's get to it then. What's on the docket for today? What are we talking about?
The first on the docket is Entrepreneur Life, man. For yourself, we want to see what you're up to, man. I know you've been doing Entrepreneur Life. Obviously, we had a conversation about some things you're doing. Why don't you give people a little update on exactly what J-Mo, aka Cunty Cakes, is up to these days?
I don't know how much of what I'm up to I can actually talk about publicly. I've been working on a few business projects, I guess you'd call them, that are related to gambling or related to poker. So it's like a natural progression for me to be involved. But it's like me sort of stepping away from playing full time, which I'm enjoying greatly. Like I don't think I've played poker in the 3 weeks now, ever since I withdrew all my money from the site formerly known as Bovada. And then I withdrew from some other sites, which I assume we're going to talk about later, but that was shady as fuck. So yeah, I've just been working on some other stuff. I'm actually, I actually, we talked about this earlier, but I was going to write a blog and put it on your One Poker Life. Is that what it's called? One Poker Life?
You want me to start calling? I'm going to forget the names of your companies in the. All right. Okay. It's okay. Go ahead. All right. You're going to write a blog. Okay. Go ahead.
And I think it's going to outline a few of the things I'm doing, or like a few of the thoughts I have on what I'm doing. And on it, I'm going to like post some links that are like stuff I'm working on, or like a few affiliate links to the stuff I'm affiliated with, and I'm going to go from there. But yeah, I don't know how much of what I'm working on I can talk about today or right now.
Well, should we announce that one of those things is you joining the GPL, and you're going to be working hand in hand with Alex Dreyfus as
an understudy?
You're going to be actually learning about being an entrepreneur from Alex Dreyfus. Should we officially announce that now?
I've taken an unpaid internship at the GPL. Alex Dreyfus is like, listen, we'll pay you $100 an hour, and I told him, no, man, I want to live the entrepreneur life. I don't want to get paid. I'm just here for the experience to work under you. So
you're joining the GPL to learn. Are you giving him advice on exactly how to? I saw you put some things on Twitter, and I think maybe that was the catalyst for your new position over at the Global Poker League. So you put some things about how to potentially make the GPL more. I don't know if it's not. I don't know. Get it more.
I'm not sure how much influence I have in the GPL. I took the position just to study from the great one, Alex Dreyfus, trying to get there, live the entrepreneur life. After like 6 or 7 years of living the poker life, I feel like the entrepreneur life is the way to live.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, listen, we're definitely going to be following along. Exactly. Maybe were you thinking about adding a buy-in to the GPL or something like that? Or what kind of ideas you're bringing to the table over there for Alex and for the team?
Well, in all seriousness, I do think that the main problem with the main problem with the GPL is no one's actually playing for money. So it's not that okay, so it's not fun watching people play for small amounts of money. It's a lot more fun watching people play for like large amounts of money. That's why shows like High Stakes Poker were fairly popular, even though they're like kind of slow paced and the production value wasn't that good. It's just like a guy in a poker room at the South Point, and then like Gabe Kaplan commentating or whoever else commentating. But those got like pretty good reviews or decent viewership. And I was thinking about this the other day. And I think the problem with not playing for money just isn't the fact that people know you're not playing for money, so they get less excited. But individuals get like a lot less excited when they're not dealing with money. So you don't get like the sheer raw emotion from winning, losing, playing poker, which is like part of the appeal of poker in the media. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Moneymaker winning like $8 million. And him being excited is a lot different than like whatever team's going to win the GPL this season.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ideas that can be done to fix I don't know if fix is the word GPL. Obviously, they said it'd be a long-term thing. I'm sure certain things that happened, so you obviously, about what happened with the Entrepeneur Life shuffle with the borrowing money, and I don't know what's your take on that whole situation that happened.
I made a tweet about this, or I made a post about this, but I'm getting a little feedback. Is that me?
No, I turned something off.
Okay. So I feel like the German guys were way too nice about what had happened. And I think it's just like within their personality to do dealings that way. Mm-hmm. If something like that happened to me, I would have flipped out immediately. Like when I do business with someone, and well, I guess let's go back and talk about what actually happened. So there was there's supposed to be an exchange of cash in Vegas for a wire in euros to a European bank account of someone who was in the US at the time. And I think one of the reasons why the German guys didn't make a huge deal about it is because it was an extremely good deal for them, because they had excess USD and they're avoiding foreign exchange charges by converting, like doing a swap with someone and converting at like the XC rate or whatever. So it was like a good deal for them, which is why they didn't make a huge deal about it. But the fact of the matter remains is what happens is basically like the incident that happened, no matter like what happened in the months after, like the incident in isolation was like an incident of malicious theft. Like I feel like Alex Dreyfus went into this swap with no intention of actually paying them within a reasonable time frame, and then like hoping they would like forget or like miss the transfer because they've been busy all summer, which is what happened. And that's basically what happened. So like, if anyone did that to me, I would probably have no financial dealings with them for the remainder of my poker or business career.
So as a blossoming entrepreneur in the entrepreneur lifestyle yourself, what's your view on that? You know, now he's in charge of, you know, GPL. Obviously, GPL is struggling a little bit to gain momentum, gain traffic, and he's the, you know, he's the person in charge of that. I don't know, like, how does your opinion change on what they're doing, or what do you think about from that
so
perspective?
the fundamental problem with GPL isn't related to Alex Dreyfus at all. I mean, this is like a one-time deal that sort of shows that maybe he isn't legit. And if you like read some of his past things that he's done, like involvement with Chili Poker and stuff, there have been a decent number of incidents that haven't been publicized or talked about that much, that shed him in like a bad light, I guess you'd say. But his personal dealings and the issues within the GPL are two separate issues. Like, GPL isn't going to be a failure because he like fucked up a transaction and lost reputation among the high stakes MTT community, or the high stakes poker community, because that's not the target market he's after. And honestly, unless you're part of that community, you don't know anything about Alex Dreyfus or his dealings. Right. The main problem with GPL is just like structurally, I don't think it's very entertaining. There's tons of problems with like the way it's run, like the format, how many matches there are, the format of the matches. What we talked about earlier, there not being any money involved. The commentators are really bad because they probably can't afford good commentators. One thing that I think is a huge red flag is that clearly it's not been going well. And there isn't like an admission from Alex Dreyfus or from like anybody involved in GPL that it's not going well. So like, if I was running a business and my business wasn't going well, like let's say within the first 3 months, and I had shareholders, which I assume he has tons of shareholders, considering he said he raised, you know, X amount of money from this number of like investment, whatever means of investment. So if I had started a business, no matter what kind of business it is, and stuff wasn't going well, and I had to respond to shareholders and I had to respond to like the public, like the first thing I would say was like, yeah, look at the numbers. The first 3 months haven't been going well, but we're optimistic about the future. Here's what we can do to improve, to make our product better for the next 3 months, or the next 6 months, or the next year. But like, all the rhetoric coming from GPL and Alex Dreyfus has been like basically all positive. Like, I can't tell if they're delusional or if they actually, or like they're delusional and they actually think things are going well, or they're just saying that to save face. But either of those don't really make much sense to do. See what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I feel like he's kind of said, you know, because they changed the location of where the finale was going to be, the playoffs were going to be. So I feel like a little bit. I mean, I guess in those releases, I'm not sure exactly how much they said things are going not going well.
The one thing that's never been talked about is that no one's fucking watching. That's like the biggest thing, right? The entire point of this whole thing is to have people watch. That's how they're gonna like monetize this thing. That's how they're gonna generate revenue. Obviously, they're like way pre-revenue, right? They're not making any money on this, and they're not gonna be making any money for the next 2 years at least, I imagine. So like, their best bet is to like gain a following, gain a fan base, and then go from there. But they clearly haven't done a good job doing that, considering like, I mean, the only I've never opened up their like app that they have, but the only platform that I've seen them on is Twitch, and they don't even make it within like the top 5 poker streams on any given time usually, when they're broadcasting.
Yeah, so, I'm not sure like, you know, thinking more about it and kind of, you know, seeing how it went, seeing how it's been going. I don't know how many actual poker players are making some decisions, how many people are familiar with poker players, the poker world. I'm not sure, you know, who the marketing people are, who's coming up with the marketing plan to a content plan. I don't know if there's any like poker anything really involved in that side of things. It seems like that's people who, you know, like are sort of, they don't know that, like, they're not insiders in any sort of way at all. They like are involved in poker in some capacity, but like not that much really. And I don't know, I feel like kind of shows with a lot of different things that they've been, you know, trying to do with things, and I'm sure that's a big problem.
The other thing that was said was, it wasn't that popular on Twitch, but it was popular on some Chinese version of Twitch or something like that. And I don't know why it's been brought up a lot that like they're gearing towards the Chinese market more than anything else. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, there's something about China. I think he may have something in the works with some sort of platform in China with more China type thing.
Okay, like that also like seems like a lie or doesn't make any sense to me, because first of all, the broadcast is completely in English. They even hired 2 or 3 people to do every single broadcast, right? And I don't, even if they translated it all in Chinese, I doubt that it would be a popular stream for like a bunch of people relatively unknown within the Chinese poker community playing each other or playing with each other, and then like 2 white people commenting and then like someone dubbing it in Chinese. Like that does not sound like an appealing stream if you're like living in China and wanted to follow poker. And I feel like China has its own like microcosm of poker scene due to like the legality issues of sites and stuff like that. There's like underground sites, there's underground gigs, there's people that are like famous within that community that like you've never heard of.
Kitty Qua's famous over there now. Mrs. Natural ate herself. Kitty Qua.
Oh yeah, I mean she's always been famous.
Big Dick Donger Kim, obviously part of Natural 8 crew as well. He's making the headways over in China, Asia.
Yeah,
is that true? I made that up. I don't know if that's true actually or not.
They're playing at Jeju. They opened Winford opened a Poker King club there.
Nice, man. They listen. China, reach out. Natural 8, reach out to me, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to do something for the Chinese people, man. I'm completely ready to get involved in China. And I'm ready, man. Let me know what you think. Well, so I guess, obviously news lately has been Pokerstars now is working with GPL. Pokerstars is the main sponsor, the main, whatever. And there's been some speculation that maybe they were all along. That was who they were working with. And I remember on one of the first podcasts, I think we talked about, me and Alex Dreyfus talked about that. I believe there was some discussion about staying neutral, not really teaming up with sites or with companies or media companies in order to be completely neutral. And I mean, I definitely understand, things change and it makes sense to team up with Pokerstars.
Well, I mean, like what changes, I assume they just ran out of money and they needed, like, assuming that Pokerstars wasn't there from the beginning, like once you run out of money, you're going to need additional funding, which means you need to take on sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, definitely makes sense. I don't know exactly
the situation, because originally what they were trying to do, and they reached out to some of my friends about this, was they were trying to sell each franchise. Do you know about this?
Right. Yeah, I remember there was talk about that. Yeah,
like an NFL team or something like that, or the equivalent of an NFL team, and they were trying to sell each team for $100,000, which is ridiculous. No one would. I wouldn't pay like $5,000 for a team. Even now, even
really, $5,000 for a team?
No, like,
okay.
I mean, a team has absolutely no value. Like the monetary value of a team is less than $5,000 for sure. So they were trying to sell each team. How many teams are there? Like 10, 12, whatever. So they're trying to raise, let's say there's 10 teams. They're trying to raise $1 million by selling each team for $100,000 or something like that. And I think they got 0 bids close to $100,000, so they abandoned that idea. So, I mean, like all these things sort of point to like a lack of funding and a lack of money. Oh, another thing I want to note is, I'm not sure if like a lot of people are familiar with how like venture capital works, but when a firm says like they're going to invest or they like have the intent to invest X amount of money, it doesn't mean you're actually getting X amount of money. And it doesn't mean you're getting X amount of money. And it means you're either getting a portion of that money to begin with, and then like the rest over time, or the rest over a period of time after you hit certain criteria. So like, let's say GPL or any company gets $5 million in funding. For this year, or this fiscal year, they might only get like a couple 100,000 of it, maybe 500,000 of it, and then like the rest is like performance based, or I mean, like a lot of venture funds just say they're going to commit this amount of money and then just never do it, and it's just like sort of a publicity thing. Like, look how much money we have. We're investing in all these things. So it's just my read. I mean, like, I don't really talk to anyone involved. I don't watch it. I just like read the forums occasionally. But I feel like they're having like kind of a money issue. It's just like my read on the situation, given like first that transaction between Henrik and Fedor and Alex Dreyfus, and then also just like everything that's gone on since then, and the fact that like the thing about entrepreneur life and startups is like burn rate is really high. Do you know what burn rate is?
I can tell you, listen, I don't know where you've been these past couple of months, but I can tell you've been taking some fucking courses on lynda.com or something like that. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about burn rate, Poppy?
The burn rate is like how fast you burn through your money.
Okay.
And I feel like they're burning, like their burn rate is extremely high and unsustainable, considering like, I mean, did they go to Vegas and build like a $400,000 like plastic box to play poker in?
I mean, they got to be spending. They're spending a lot of money either way with people. Like, they got a lot of people employed. Obviously, that are working for them. Building the cube, the offices.
They have their own app, which they have to like constantly update, I assume, which takes quite a bit. They have to pay the players, which even though the players are getting paid like next to nothing, I guess I wouldn't say next to nothing, because like the hourly rate you get there is probably better than like a lot of the hourly rate that most of the players actually make. I mean.
What are you talking about? How much these guys are making? These guys are making at least a couple $100 an hour in markup, aren't they?
Markup.
Well, when they're charging a lot. They're charging a lot of markup to some of these players. They're making. Let's say they play a $5,000 tournament. They charge at 1.4. They sell 75%. They're making money. They got a good hourly in that situation.
But we're talking about specifically within the GPL. I mean, like I think they get paid like $100 an hour, and it's actually kind of tough to make $100 an hour playing poker these days. And it's variance free. So it's sort of appealing to them. But like, I don't know how many players are under their roster or how many hours they have to pay. And then first place is 100K or something like that. Is that on top of the hourly salary? I don't know. Where's the money coming from? Who's investing in this? Like
Pokerstars. China. You, I don't know. It could be you. I don't know.
like you just respond to anything with China, like China, and then just like pretend you have money. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like I'm still, I want GPL to work. I want things to work out. It's good for poker, but at the same time, you watch GPL, and I haven't heard one. Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't heard one person say, "Hey, you watching GPL today?" I am really, yeah, I tuned in GPL. Like I really enjoyed it. It seems like it seems like an immediate problem right there.
Yeah.
That if I can't think about one person who's like, yeah, I enjoy watching the GPL. Like, I mean, something has to change. I feel like something really has to change, and I don't know what that change is. I don't even think it's the marketing or the content, because the content you can create from the players and from the show. I mean, like the shows, it is what it is.
I won't name any names. I won't name any names, but I've had a handful, let's say a handful of people in the GPL that are playing like matches or playing 6-max matches that have hit me up saying like, man, like I really don't want to play this. Like it's going to be so boring. I can't take this seriously. Can I bet on myself? So they want to gamble with me. And I know they're not supposed to, which is why I'm not naming any names. Like apparently within their contract or something, they're not allowed to gamble on the actual GPL matches. But I've been hit up by quite a few people asking if like I can give them some lines that they can bet on themselves to make it more entertaining or make it more worthwhile, I guess, for their time to play.
Yeah, that makes sense. Aaron Paul? Is Aaron Paul one of those guys hitting you up trying to gamble on things?
Aaron Paul does not. I don't think Aaron Paul is my contact. But if someone has my contact and Aaron Paul's contact, and Aaron Paul wants to bet on himself, I'd give him like a fair price.
Okay, let's hypothetically, and then we're going to change, and we're going to move on. So hypothetically, like what could be changed about the actual game? Not the money wise, but it's basically a short stack tournament. When it's just like repetitively a short stack tournament with commentators who, I don't the commentators, I don't know the commentator, like exactly what the commentator situation is now.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. The commentators are very poor, but they're even worse given the format. Okay, so like if it was like if these commentators were commentating high stakes poker, it would be like okay, because it's all deep stacked, like slow paced cash. But the format in GPL is like turbo sit and goes, short stack turbo sit and goes, and heads up no limit. And the commentators are completely clueless on most things short stack, because those have more to do with like a math or theory background. Whereas like the commentary and deep stack play is like, oh, is he bluffing or is he value betting? You know, stuff like that, which is what they're more adept to commentate. So like you have these two people who I don't even know who they are, but you get in situations where everyone's like 15 big blinds deep. Like, what do you even talk about? Like, oh, this is an okay hand, he's going to be all in. Oh, this is a bad hand, he's going to fold. You know, like,
right.
There isn't that much to talk about.
I got the idea, JMO. You're going to like the idea. Okay. The idea is, I know the guy they can bring in to save the GPL. I know the guy they can bring in to add to the GPL, an aspiring entrepreneur himself, someone who's been hitting the lab for the past couple of years on Twitch himself, and that is none other than Jimmy Stapler. I feel like you bring in Jimmy Stapler, a blossoming entrepreneur himself, someone with fans, someone with content creation ability, as he's shown with the video blog series. I feel like Jimmy Stapler, you bring him in, I think he could have I think he'd be a better commentator, you know, do some great commentating. Maybe he could be on a fucking team. I feel like you bring in Jimmy, things happen. I'm serious. What do you think? You don't think so? I'm serious.
I don't think so.
I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I think so. I think he could do it. You need a Twitch guy on there, man.
I have very little respect for Jimmy Staples or Jamie Staples or whatever his name is. As like, just in general. He was actually, Doug told me he was talking a little bit of shit about me. Like,
whoa, wait. Okay, wait, go ahead. Okay. He told me the same thing, by the way. So go ahead.
Yeah. He was
about myself. So.
Oh, really? He was just talking shit about you, right?
That's what I'm talking about
you. Yeah. What the fuck? This kid's talking shit about us? Are you kidding? Have you seen this kid? So like apparently, well, Doug's been all up in the streaming Twitch streets, and apparently like all the Twitch people just like hang out together and like video chat each other and like are just all buddies now. So I think Doug's got like a new crew. He's like not even part of the evil empire anymore. He's part of the Staples empire, the Somerville empire or whatever. But they all hang out now. But he said something about like Jamie Staples was like talking about how he's going to be like richer than me this year or something like that, and like he brings it up all the time, like, hey, I'm going to be richer than JMO or something like that. Like, who does that? I mean, first of all, let's clarify. Jamie, if you're watching, you're not. So like, let's just settle it like here now. You're not, and you probably won't be for like the next 10 years, given like your pace.
Yeah.
Okay. So like the whole Twitch thing it just seems kind of dumb, because there's basically like only one good player, and it's Doug. And it's not because like I'm friends with Doug, but like if you look at it objectively, there's only one like elite player that streams, right?
Well, what about Tonka's pretty good. He's got some good results too.
Yeah, I mean, like Tonka's like the best MTT pro, but he's not elite even in terms of MTTs. Like I can name like a group of people that are way better than him in terms of results, play way higher, have better results. But I mean, if you look at like Doug, and even if you use his track record, like they've played the highest stakes,
right?
They're considered like the best or one of the best. And if you look at, like, I know we've talked about this before, but if you look at any other game that's streamed on Twitch, especially like the skill intensive games, which poker is supposed to be, usually the highest viewership goes to like the best players, like the top 0.1 percentile of players.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the entire Twitch pool, I think Doug is the only one that I would consider within like the top 1 percentile of poker players at the moment right now. Like I think the rest are somewhere between like the top like 25 to the top 50 percentile. Like for example, Jamie Staples, he's not even like I wouldn't consider him like even a mediocre tournament reg. I would just consider him bad reg. I mean, like, not to quote like Doug calling Jason Mercier a bad reg. That clearly, like, Jason Mercier is probably not bad. But like, if you look at his results, he's not up that much money. If you look at like how he plays, it's clear. Like, you can see his hole cards. You can see him make fundamental mistakes, not understand like how poker actually works. There's actually, I was, for some reason, I was reading a thread about him because he was like on like a 60K downswing or something like that.
Listen, I can't support that thread's mean. They're mean in that fucking thread. They're mean. They're too mean. Come on, I don't know.
I actually got to stop like reading 2+2. I try to like disconnect myself from the poker community. Like I basically unfollowed like everyone related to poker on Twitter, unless they're like a personal friend or like, you know, I enjoy like what they're tweeting. And I don't follow any of the news updates, stuff like that anymore. But I still like, I guess going back to when I started playing poker, like where I learned playing poker was 2+2. I remember like very vividly. It was like the summer of 2009. I did an internship and like I didn't do shit in that internship. I would like go to work, log onto my computer. Like obviously couldn't play poker on my computer, and I would just like read 2+2 threads. Mm-hmm. And back then 2+2 threads were like actually quite good, especially like if you look at like the archive from the old 2+2. I remember like a lot of the posts like really taught me a lot. So I've just been reading 2+2 for like the past 7 years. And I don't know, it's almost like an addiction for me. Like I know like I don't need to read this stuff and I really don't care, but like I just can't help it. And I have to open up MBG and see what people are up to. And like,
hey, I mean, it's a hard habit to break. You've been doing it for so long. It's hard to just not naturally click the 2+2, check it out, read something.
Yeah. But like, man, on my old 2+2 account before I got banned, I had like 12,000 posts or something like that. And a lot of them were back when like I used to play small stakes and mid stakes.
Right.
I would, like my daily routine was this is when poker was like actually like a lot of fun for me. I would play and then I would review my session, and any hands I was unsure of, I would just post them on the forums. And you can probably find those posts like right now if you just click 10K, like whoever started those posts. I have hundreds of hands I posted in the small stakes forums asking for like basically the community's advice. And back then, like people actually gave, at the time, reasonable hand history advice, as opposed to, I imagine like all those forums are just like kind of dead now and no one actually talks strategy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the smaller stakes ones still get some okay replies, okay responses, but obviously high stakes and mid stakes.
Yeah, but I mean, like the volume has got to be like way.
Also, in terms of cash games, less people are just playing cash games. The people that are playing cash games that are regulars now have been playing for so long, you know, they lose that habit of posting those hands, and there's not many people really rising up through the ranks. Yeah. So it's sort of like, that's really why it doesn't exist. The player pool is just a lot smaller because of other situations with them trying to, you know, stars trying to drive away pros.
I actually remember this. So when I was playing, this was like 2009. I was playing mostly 1-2, 50 cent a dollar, and I would like be posting a lot of hands. The moderator for the small stakes forum, he still might be the moderator, is a guy named David E. His screen name is Orange. Mm-hmm. And he'd sent me like 3 or 4 PMs saying I was posting too much. Like, hey, you're only allowed to post like 2 or 3 hands a day or something like that. Like, this is your final warning. You can't post this many hands.
So I guess basically what you're trying to say is that what?
Oh, I got off on like a tangent here. I was talking about.
It's okay. I agree, but I like it. It's okay.
We were talking about
Twitchers.
Fat boy Staples talking shit about me.
Kid, come on, really? You like when people call you that in the past or at the current moment in time, though?
But people still call me fat all the time.
Yeah, but you like it now.
Okay. So like, this is gonna sound mean, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Okay, like I'm like in okay shape now. I used to be like a decent amount fatter, and I think a lot of the reason why it was like that is because I enjoyed like fine dining a little bit too much. Like I would just like go out to eat and eat like 4,000 calories a day and just not give a fuck. And I used to like drink a lot, like when especially when I was living in Thailand. I was going out and like partying maybe like 3 or 4 times a week. And this was like maybe 3 years ago. at my peak, but I was like going out and like drinking, and it wasn't like casual drinking. It was like drinking to get very drunk, which calorically speaking, like I was probably drinking like 2,000 calories of just like straight alcohol on the side. But like I will say this is like every time I've encountered someone that's been like not just fat but like morbidly obese to a point where it inhibits their ability to like actually do stuff, especially physically, they've usually just been like not a successful person, you know? Like they don't have much going on for them in their life, and that's why like they sort of get that way.
I got nothing to add to that, man. Come on, I got. Listen, man. I ain't trying to say nothing about a lot of overweight people out there for whatever reason, man. You know it.
This sounds bad, but I used to have a rule when I staked a bunch of people that I just wouldn't stake people that are morbidly obese. I just like didn't believe in them. I'm like,
Jesus, come on, you believe in them? I mean, I understand what you're saying, especially 2016. Obviously,
anyone can like think I'm being mean, or they can mock me or mock the process or whatever. But if you look at the results of like my stable, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Listen, you a big guy, big girl. I got love, man. I got love. 160 or above, I'll show you love. 160 or below, gotta go. You ain't a big girl, you ain't gotta go, man. She ain't a real lady, J-Mo, unless if she ain't 280. So listen, man, I mean,
she ain't a real lady.
She ain't a real lady if she ain't 280. Bang bang. I mean, that's just what life is. You know what I mean? That's what life's about for me.
I've never seen a woman that's 280.
You ain't seen a real lady, then that's for sure, man.
I don't know what I'm fucking on with them.
But okay, so I do want to say, I think we're setting up. I think we're set for one of the biggest come to glories in the history of Twitch poker.
Okay.
With our friend Jamie, because I feel like he's got it. It's all right there for the taking. He stops his bad habits. He gets on the boxing grind, becomes the next Twitch boxer. He gets in shape, starts working at poker, gets better at poker, becomes one of the best poker players in the world, becomes a guy that overcame so much adversity, rose to the top, and helped the GPL rise to glory. I feel like we're setting up for it, man. I'm telling you, I see it coming.
I don't see that happening for a few reasons. First off, like all the issues he's had with like personal fitness, poker, his poker ability, all of that could have been solved within like the past, however much time he's been streaming or he's been doing this. And like, man, I feel kind of bad just like piling it on, but I feel like it's just going to get worse for guys like him, because when they got into the whole streaming thing, like no one actually streamed poker, right? So if you wanted to watch poker, it was like a selection of few people, and he rose to the top of like kind of a shitty pile. But now that it's getting more popular, and it's getting like more popular in terms of like sponsorship potential or like ability to like monetize the viewers in some way. Better people in terms of like actual poker ability, but also like in terms of intellect and entertainment factor are going to be taking his market share. And I think it's been happening already. Like on average, he's been getting a lot less viewers. And I think like part of it is people like Doug, Doug's been crushing the whole streaming game basically. Like he's on YouTube, he's like doing a bunch of stuff. His exposure, his viewership has like been growing at an exponential rate. And then
J-Mo, I'm gonna tell you my theory. This theory I've had experience with and thinking about a lot. I feel like a lot of people that are doing things, creating content, streaming on Twitch, making YouTube videos, being popular on social media, on Twitter, maybe they're unpopular poker players. I feel like a lot of the people that are doing these things, their happiness is, and they're really obsessed with how many people watch them, how many viewers they get, how many followers they have, and they're obsessed with it to a degree where they're never going to really be happy, because once they hit one thing, they always want to get to the next thing.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think that, there are certain people who, this is going to be a big thing to overcome, is that once you get into that lifestyle, that obsession, you're gonna, it's hard to get out of it. It's hard to be like, all right, I got this many thousand viewers, now I only have this many. Like, oh my, like your whole entire self-worth is tied to how many people are watching you or following you or whatever. And I'm telling you, man, I know a lot. I'm sure there's got to be a lot of poker players too who feel the same way in terms of their own personal exposure, and it's not a healthy way to be, man. I don't know. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I was related to that, but let's change the topic. People in the chat, they're saying, why are you being mean to you? I mean, obviously, sounds like he's saying some comments about you. May or may not be saying some comments about other people in the chat. So let's. I
mean, it doesn't matter. Even if he's not, I'm going to say what I want about like what's going on. So
yeah.
And like, I feel like I don't really want to like single him out, but like he's just like the easiest target because he's like the prime example of like a subpar poker player that sort of makes it by on like an income streaming while being like probably a losing poker player. But there's a few others out there like him as well. And the point I just want to make is that once better players get into the market, they're going to get a larger piece of the market share, which means like people like him are going to get less and less of the market share.
Who else would you say is similar? I don't know. I mean,
what's that guy's name? Jamie's buddy, Kevin Martin.
Kevin Martin.
Yeah.
I can't. Come on, Kevin's awesome. Kevin's awesome.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but he's not.
Kevin's awesome, man. That kid's cool. He's awesome.
You can say awesome like 5 times in a row, but that doesn't make him a good poker player.
I feel like he's working at his game, man. He just started. Like, he literally he literally started after Twitch was even a thing. That's when he like began playing the game. He's like a brand new fucking guy to the game.
I understand that, but like we're going back to what I was talking about earlier. Is when you watch someone play a game of skill.
I see your point.
You're watching usually because like you're impressed by their ability to play the game. Like if you look at any other game, that's how it works. And eventually in poker, that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, I guess there's obviously there's good Twitchers out there, whether they're in the top 1%. Obviously, my boy Adrian Phoenix. Shout out to my boy Adrian Puppy. Just had a threesome last night down in Colombia with a couple Colombian girls. Mamacitas. I got the receipts on Snapchat. Wait, can I say that, Adrian? It's live. I already said it, buddy. Good luck down there, man. Obviously B Paris, part of Grind Nation as well. B Paris, he's got a lot of successful track record in the tournament world.
I actually feel kind of bad that me and Adrian like got off on a bad foot because he was talking shit about me and I was talking shit about him. I think we'd get along pretty well.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. All right, let's move.
If he's watching, if you're ever in Vegas or in Asia somewhere, you can go out for a drink.
You into 3-ways?
I mean, not the devil's 3-ways, but I mean, there's a time for everything, right? You got to try everything at least once.
Jesus. All right. One drop Euro starting tomorrow, I believe. The Drop Extravaganza in Monaco. What's I saw you looking for some action on Twitter. What do you know about what's happening out there?
I will say this. I don't want to say like who I bought pieces of, who I didn't buy pieces of, what I thought, but. Okay, so this was my first experience dealing with this player pool, meaning like most of my experience with these people is that they have been the losing players in the tournaments that I buy other people in.
Bang, bang.
Like the spots, if you will. And I'm sure like most of them know it. I mean, like they're in it for the competition. They've obviously made a lot of money outside of poker and they want to play the higher stakes because, they enjoy competition against the best, but like they can probably admit themselves that they're probably not winning against the field. So this is like a unique experience for me because I've never really dealt with any of these people personally from like a business standpoint. And man, like just dealing with them makes me realize like how shitty dealing with poker players is. like I buy action from someone, I get like a phone call and they're like reassuring me that, you know, I'm studying really hard. I have a coach. I have like a personal trainer. I'm feeling really good. I've been in the lab. Like it's a rebuy, but I'm not going to punt off my first, like a bunch of reinsurances, like after I buy the piece. I mean, like I'm already in, like you already have like my money, like you can do whatever you want. But the fact that they like value investment so highly, and they want to like sort of prove that like my investment is plus EV, is something that like I've never really dealt with actual poker players. Like most actual poker players, if I'm buying a piece, like we negotiate the markup, I send them the money, and they could be like on an all-night bender, they won't tell me. They could like bring their personal trainer, they won't tell me. Like it doesn't really matter. There isn't like there isn't an obligation for them to like report to the investor other than like at the end of the tournament where they either win money or lose money. So it was like a unique experience, and I actually enjoyed it a lot, just like talking with these people.
Wasn't that usually because a lot of the guys who've been doing this for poker for a long time, they already have proven results. You already know them, you know their results. Like they don't necessarily have anything necessarily to prove. But when you see people selling action on the forums, you know, then they're always like, all right, I'm in the best mindset. I've been working 20 hours with this you know what I mean? I feel like the people that are trying to prove themselves are the people who say things like that. And the other people.
Okay, so those people are only trying to prove themselves until the point of sale. Like when people talk about themselves and like how well they're doing in the forums, it's because they want to justify to the buyer. We should actually talk about piece buying after this, because I'll get to that in a minute. But because what was I talking about? Okay, so if they post that stuff in the forums, it's mostly to justify to the buyer, like I'm worth this amount of markup. I've been doing this, like my results have been good, stuff like that. But after the point of sale, which is what I'm talking about here, like you don't necessarily hear from them. I mean, you might get an update. You almost never hear about any improvements they've made in their poker game and stuff like that, because like there's no need to sell me on something I've already bought.
So you're saying you think people more poker players should do that even after action sold to someone? They should.
It's not necessary. I just brought it up because it was a very pleasant experience for me dealing with some of these people. Like I would just get a phone call like confirming like they got the money that was sent, and then like basically there's one guy, I won't say who I was like leaving to go somewhere, and my neighbors came up and wanted to talk to me, and this guy just like kept talking for like 10 minutes, and my neighbor just like stood there right in front of me awkwardly, and I just kept like holding my hand up like, sorry, I got to take this call, you know. Entrepreneur life, you know what it's like. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Okay, so what I wanted to bring up was I actually pulled up your YouTube channel and pulled up your stream, and two sort of unrelated incidents. I guess I'd call them incidents. Two unrelated things happened. You did like it wasn't even really a podcast. It was like a 30-minute video with some guy I've never heard of about
John Beaupres. Come on, man. John Beaupres, man. Longtime member of the community.
So I was like, okay, so I pulled that up. I'm like, oh, this might be interesting. I'll listen to it. Okay, so the first thing he says is, I know I'm going to berate this guy, but
it's okay. I mean, what you got, man? Maybe he said he'll be able to learn some things then too. So that's good.
It was like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard about buying action, and he repeated it like 3 or 4 times. But what he said was like before you buy a piece, think to yourself, like, can this person win the tournament? If they can't, you probably shouldn't buy a piece of them. Like if at best they can only min cash, you shouldn't buy a piece. But if you know in your heart they can win the tournament,
or if they have the ability to win the tournament when they get down shorthanded kind of situation.
The ability to win the tournament. I have no idea what that means. Like looking at past WSOP main event results, out of a 7,000 player field, Jerry Yang, who was praying to God like after every all in, won.
Lord, please help me. Please help me not get berated by JMO right now, please. Thank you.
Obviously, there's like a statistical distribution of how often you win the tournament versus like how often you bust outside the money. Like the best player in the tournament with some frequency is the first person out of the tournament, right?
True.
the worst person in the tournament is, with some frequency, is the first place player in the tournament, right? And then it's just over like a distribution of results. Whereas the better player is going to have like a higher distribution towards winning, and a worse player is going to have a distribution weighted towards busting earlier. I mean, it's just like simple math and statistics. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about when he says, like, make sure that they can win the tournament. Because some people, like, they can only min cash. And
okay. Well, so say, for example, if you know certain players and you check their results, they never actually win any tournaments. They're min cashers.
That doesn't mean anything, though. That's just like, if you look at the results, it's just like a distribution of a sample that they have.
I don't think it's like a certain rule you got to live by, but I think it's an approach to take in, especially if you're a new player buying action, or if you're someone that's looking out there and you know, somebody is not winning any turn. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if that could be something to decide on.
Actually, the advice you're giving is like actually horrible. Like right now.
Is it?
It's horrible.
Well, listen, I don't buy fucking pieces. What do I know, Matt? I didn't write the outline.
Okay, well, let me explain this. So, like, if someone has a distribution of actually winning tournaments, it sort of means that they've run on the higher end of the spectrum. Like, if you win a tournament as like a one-time thing, you're more likely to overvalue your abilities going into the next tournament, or going into like the next group of tournaments, because like you're going to be more biased on short-term results, and it's like just as easy for you to come second, third, or min cash as you to win a tournament in terms of like distributions of like what place finishes. Obviously, there's more min cashes in first place, and so on and so forth. But by simply looking at someone's results and picking the player who has literally won the tournaments more often and buying piece from them, I think that's probably overall losing, because a person who just wins a lot of tournaments straight out is going to have a much higher opinion of themselves than a person that's like been struggling, even if their skill level is exactly the same. But that's just my opinion on it. Oh, and then like the other thing he said, like I turned it off after like 15 minutes. But the other thing he said was like, yeah, you got to like practice like good bankroll management. And then he said like him and his buddy Chance. Is that Chance Cornett? Is that who he's talking about?
Chance Cornett, correct. Chance Cornett. Shout to Chance.
Okay, Chance Cornett. He's talking about bankroll management, and then suddenly he talks about like my buddy Chance Cornett, the king of bankroll. I mean, I love Chance. He's an awesome guy. But like what is he talking about? Like he's like, oh, we just bought this piece from a guy, and he won $200K, so it was a good investment. And then like a minute later, he talks about like, yeah, you shouldn't be like short-sighted. You shouldn't look at recent results, because like what I was talking about earlier, people overvalue themselves on the recent results. And then like the one instance he talks about, he's talking about like a package he bought where the guy just won the first tournament within the package, so that makes it a good buy. I don't know. It seems like people are just sort of clueless.
Jane Andes Poker in the chat says, winning a tournament means being skilled six-handed, three-handed, heads up, in terms of looking at a player if they're skilled.
In theory, it does, if like you get like a decent sample for this. But
right.
A lot of the times, it's hard to get shorthanded in a tournament, especially when the field's like 1,000 people. You need to get like the top 6 to get in these situations. And a lot of times in these situations, like the standard deviation in terms of your BD per 100 is super, super high, given like the antes and the blind levels. Like, well, let's say if you're all 100 big blinds deep and you're good at playing shorthanded, your BB per 100 at the table may be like 6 or 7, right? If you're all like 5 big blinds deep, then it's going to be a lot less than that. Does that make sense?
I mean, I guess if you can, I mean, I guess you're purely estimating what your BB per 100 is in that situation. You know, really.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like skill edges are bigger when you're deeper, but also when you're deeper, like the standard deviation in terms of how often the best player actually wins the tournament, or how often your result in the tournament legitimizes your skill level is a lot lower.
I don't want. I hate tournaments, man. Let's think about this. I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to be encouraged. I don't want to be encouraged to stake anybody. I don't want to be encouraged to buy any fucking action. Like my advice usually is don't. But okay, so he said one thing at the end, and I want to see if you.
So the other thing was, I pulled up your stream the other day. You had what's his name, Jeff Gross on, and I watched for maybe 10 minutes of it. But one part I guess he's affiliated with like Stake Kings or youstake or something like that.
Yeah, stakeduel. Yeah, stakeduel.
But Oh man, what did he say? The one thing he said was, he doesn't like the situation where people mark themselves up in order to like make a profit from the investors, because the investors are sort of like delusional as to, or uninformed as to like who's actually winning, obviously. So instead of having like a bidding system, they're going to replace it with like something where people just set a price and you have to buy it at that price, which I think is just like a horrible idea. Like, it defeats the purpose of it. It makes way more sense to have a bidding system, even though it favors the seller, because it, like, more often than not simulates like a real market economy, where is if people value your services for that, they'll bid you up. If they don't value, like, they'll buy you at a low amount, and then you just have to take whatever price like the market dictates, which is sort of how I think like the poker marketplace should work, is that like the community sort of sets the price based on who's willing to buy at certain rates, and then who's willing to possibly sell at those rates. So it works like any other financial market. But I feel like that change, I didn't really listen for that long, but I feel like that change is extremely detrimental to the site itself, or the idea of like a free market economy and buying and selling pieces. Obviously, you can just charge whatever you want and they have to buy at that amount. But I just think like the auction style is way better.
Yeah, I think I like the site staking. I like the youstakes. Whether, you know, once again, we're talking about buying action. I've never really bought any action in any sort of format, so I can't speak on what I think is better or worse or whatever. But I mean, I feel like the sites themselves are pretty good ideas. They make it easy to sell action for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think they're good ideas. The main problem I see in them is that people that aren't associated with poker are going to be losing a lot of money thinking they're making plus EV investments when they aren't.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is that,
as like a site owner or as a player, you shouldn't really be concerned about that, because the site doesn't, the site gets paid on commission, right? Like every transaction that happens, they give a percentage. So whether the player is winning or losing is not really relevant to them. And for the player selling action, whether they're winning or losing at that rate they're selling at, it's not really relevant to them. It's only relevant that they get people to buy at that rate. So, but like, it's just like a real shitty deal for the investor.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think, especially with a lot of players on there that are selling action to their fans or their family or their cousin.
Like our buddy Jamie Staples, I'm pretty sure he's selling his packages to his $200 tournaments. He has like a minus like 50% ROI in this year. But he's getting that. I mean,
okay, so we can talk about this. So, and not saying a lot of him, whatever, man. There's other people that do the same thing, but yeah, I mean, like some of these guys, they're selling all the action to their fans and their fans. They care about their fans, whatever, but they're not like even winning poker. Like they're not winning poker players. They're not working on their game at all. They're not. Yeah. I don't know. That seems really fucked up of a thing to do. Is that you're saying like you care about people that are supporting you, but now you're gonna charge them this markup that doesn't justify any results that you have, the work that you're putting in. You're just doing it because you can. It seems, yeah.
The thing you have to realize is like everyone in poker is inherently selfish, like myself included. You're just looking out for your own best interest in most cases, because you're self-employed. You're dealing with like, and I'm echoing kind of bad now. You're dealing with like a smaller community, I guess you'd say, where you don't really have that much of a connection with anybody outside maybe close friends. But it's not like a synergistic thing where you work for a company. Everyone you work with is working for like the company as well. If you play for a sports team, everyone is working for like the same unified goal. Whereas in poker, it's like a zero-sum game. For someone to win, someone has to lose even more due to the rake, right? So like you stifling the bankrolls or having other people lose money will always make you money. And that's like the fucked up thing about the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely basically you're trying to take people's money, exploit them, exploit their weaknesses, take advantage of them. I mean, it is kind of fucked up when you really think about exactly what makes someone a good poker player.
Yeah, exactly. And then people just pretend, like, oh, we're all friends at the end of the day. We
Yeah,
like, we're all a community, we're all buddies. Where it's downright malicious, like people are just out to get each other, and that's just the way it has to be. That's the way you have to survive. Whether
definitely.
it seems like that or whether it doesn't seem like that, I mean, it could be like something more malicious, or just people charging too much markup and like tricking people and buying them is like the example we use here. But it's still all the same. Like one side profits, the other side doesn't.
Hmm. So what do you think about, so you think the staking site, the youstake site, they should care more about the customers, or you think from an entrepreneur life standpoint, they're good, they're fine, they're helping, I guess they're helping poker out, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's like, I see absolutely no need to protect an uninformed investor. Like if you look at any other market, it's not like if I want to go buy like the stock that's going to tank like 90% the next day, like someone at the SEC is going to be like, hey, whoa, watch it, kid. You're spending too much of your money on this stock. You be careful. It's high volatility. There's no like inherent protections to make to prevent people from making poor financial decisions in the real world. So why should there be protections to protect people in the poker world? The one issue that we talked about this in the past, but the one issue that I have is it doesn't work exactly like a market, because there's only one seller, and then there's like multiple buyers, right?
Mm.
So the seller that sells his own action is always going to have the advantage. Whereas if someone's playing a tournament and you think that they're doing way worse in a tournament that they're selling for, there should be some way to undercut their margins, and for like an outside person, like say me or someone else, to make money on that. Because
It sounds like a business.
but like it's a tough business because of like the legality issues, and then also like the way that payouts work in tournaments is like I could be risking like $1 million to win like $10,000 or something like that. So there has to be like an inherent trust issue where if someone like, for example, like if I were to short for someone in the main event and they wanted to buy like an extra like 20% of themselves or something, they would have to trust me enough if they win the main event that I'd pay them like $2 million, which is like a huge thing, right?
Right.
And like that level of trust probably doesn't exist like within the community, considering like how devious like a lot of the community is. But it would solve the problem of like the markup rates being too high, and the rates would drop to an amount where like buying or selling is theoretically going to be sort of neutral EV. Like people are going to be selling at about or slightly worse than what their true value is. And then it would basically stop like a lot of people from just sort of getting by, like selling action and streaming and not actually making money playing poker, which is like a huge leech on the poker economy.
Yeah, especially if people, I feel like also people, it's like kind of like a cop out to actually get better at poker, is that if you always know you can sell action, you never actually have to have any real money for yourself in terms of outside paying your bills. It demotivates you to feel like your back's up against the wall in a situation and really put the work in and really figure out a way to make it work, figure out a way to get better, because you always know it's like you have one score. It's like I can sell action for the rest of my life. Like I don't need to try. You know what I mean? It's just it's I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people too. And if you can play a 10K and you don't need to ever like get better at your game.
Yeah. I mean, like you can play a 10K and sell a markup and have like, you can like free roll probably like 2.5K. So let's say you're losing like, let's say you're break even in a tournament and you sell it like, like 1.25, can't do the math off the top of my head, but you can free roll like $2,000, I think, on every 10K you play, which is like pretty good. Imagine on average you play like 4 or 5 hours in a tournament. You're making a pretty good hourly in terms of EV by like just shipping that 2K.
Yeah. Comes back to tournaments every single time, huh? Comes back to tournaments every single time. I want to go back to something John told me, because you said he said some other things that you didn't agree with, but he did say something that if you're a person looking to get staked, you should get staked by better players, because you can build a relationship up with them. They'll help you out if you go deep in a situation. And instead of getting staked by random people, if that's an option, you should try to seek out better players to stake you.
Well, yes and no. I mean, this goes back to the problem we were talking about earlier. Like the worst player is also going to be a worse investor because they're not going to understand edges and ROIs more. So like the better the player, especially the better the player in the format, they're going to give you probably a worse price on your action than what you would get from, like, let's just say posting on 2+2 and having like a bunch of people send like $50 instead of having one intelligent investor buy the entire package. So like you have to balance it out by thinking like, how often am I going to get advice from this person? Like he's probably only going to like respond to me or give me hand history advice if I'm like actually in the money or deep in the tournament, which happens maybe, let's say like 1 in 15 in the money, and then like actually deep, probably like 1 in 100. So like the frequency you're actually getting coaching or frequency you're actually getting good advice from a solid player may not compensate for the fact that you're probably going to be selling your action at a lot less markup. But the thing is like you don't have to deal with like these fucking peasants that are sending you like their case $50 on PayPal and like dealing with those transfers and stuff like that. So I think that's the main advantage.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you running for president sometime soon or what? You going to be president in 2000?
If Trump wins, I feel like I have a pretty good shot.
Are you a Trump supporter? Is that you?
No, I don't support Trump. He's going to fuck things up. I'm not a Hillary fan either, but like, it's like the world we live in, right?
It's fucked up, right? It's crazy. It's craziness. You thinking about moving out the country?
Yeah, I thought about it, but okay. So the problem with moving out of the country is I still have to pay taxes. There's like a statute of limitations where they pay taxes for I think 9 years. And the other thing is like, if shit goes down, it's sort of nice to have a U.S. passport. It's like one of the best passports to have.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of like what I'm doing now, I'm doing a lot of traveling. Besides some of like the real sketch, like formerly communist countries, it's way easier to own a U.S. passports in terms of like visa rules, how long you can stay, stuff like that.
Mm.
Here's an example. You know, Chinese nationals can only stay in Macau for 7 days.
Of course I knew. Why wouldn't I know that?
Because I found that like absolutely ridiculous. But Macau is basically China. Like everyone there is Chinese, and it's just like you know, like a 40-minute ferry from Hong Kong, and people want to go there and gamble. And I've known like degens just like going there and then doing visa runs back to their country. So they go there for a week. They maybe want to stay a month and just like gamble for a month. They have to take like an hour and 20-minute like round trip ferry ride, or I guess you can take like the 30-minute helicopter or whatever it takes. But they do that and have to like go through immigration again just to like be.
Is that what the poker players do?
Well, most of the poker players aren't Chinese. It's actually
Chinese. Okay.
It's really bad for the games because less of the recreational players are coming to Macau because of this rule. And a lot of the recreational players right now in Macau are not Chinese nationals like it used to be. They're like from Korea, they're from Japan, they're from like Southeast Asian countries.
You think any of these guys are going to be at the $1 million Euro one drop the event? Because they're having a bunch of other tournaments. They're having some high stakes cash games. What do you think?
I heard that like the Chinese crew had like a huge falling out with Gus, or not Gus,
Liberté,
yeah, which is why they didn't play the last one drop, I believe. Don't quote me on that. They might have played. But just something happened where like Deeb vouched for a guy in like the big game in I think in Manila or something like that, and the guy lost and didn't pay, and he didn't pay his share. And then,
wow.
This is all speculation. I heard
allegedly.
Like I actually don't know, but like apparently there's a rift between like a lot of those guys and Guy, which is why they won't be playing.
Well, I guess we'll see if those guys play in the event.
I have no idea, honestly.
Well, the event starts now, or starts tomorrow, so maybe they'll be playing in the event this week.
Oh, it starts tomorrow?
I believe it starts tomorrow. I think 13th to 17th. I could be wrong, but thought it was soon.
I think they just run satellites tomorrow, but like the actual event, the €1,000,000 tournament is this weekend.
Yeah, there's other events that they have leading up to the €1,000,000, and then the €1,000,000 with the rebuy is at the end of it. So they have the cash games running, and the other tournaments going there too.
Yeah.
So why don't you go out there? Why don't you head out there and get in the cash games or something like that?
I really dislike being in Monaco. I think it's of all the places I've traveled to, it's like the nicest place that I've actually like sort of disliked. And there's something about that area that like everyone's just like absurdly rich, and you have to be like rich just to live there. And they just have like a certain attitude about them. Like, for example, if you go to a restaurant, you're paying like 2 or 3 times the amount you pay like in a normal city, and the service isn't as good and the food isn't as good, and no one seems to really care because it's just the standard there that you just like pay a bunch of money and then that's it.
Insider,
like the fucking I remember staying at the Monte Carlo Bay Hotel where the EPT is held, and I ran up like the $450 room service bill, just like taking water and juice out of the mini fridge.
Insider P Trader on Twitch says Guy was backing Durr, then Guy found out about being cheated on Full Tilt, then said he wouldn't cover Durr's 20 million loss.
I don't know. That might be true. I don't think Guy was backing Durr though. Doesn't sound like something Guy would do.
Extraterrestrial says, what's Jason's view on the Run It Once poker site coming out? Chances of success, ability to compete with stars, and the other big names.
I would say it's not going to be successful, and it has absolutely no chance of competing with Pokerstars. And I'm all for like the idealistic approach to like creating a poker site that's like fair and balanced and for the people, but like the economics of the site just isn't going to work, I feel.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, first of all, the site needs to make money, and a lot of money needs to be put in for like the development team, the marketing, stuff like that. And considering it's from Run It Once, which is probably the elite training tool for like most good players would have an account there studying. If that's the target market, then the games are going to get really tough immediately and probably dry up instantly to a point where recreational players will lose money. Like in a perfectly fair and balanced system, the recreational player is going to lose their money extremely quickly in today's environment because of how good players are compared to recreational players like 2 or 3 years ago. So like you have the site that's catered towards or marketed towards professional players. It's probably going to have like one of the toughest lineups. If you're a recreational player, you probably never heard of Run It Once. You probably have no idea who Phil Galfond is, but you know who fucking Daniel Negreanu is. So you're more likely to sign up to like a site like Pokerstars or even like an ACR that offers sports betting or like these weekends or like Ignition, or I don't know if Ignition's still a thing, or Bovada, or what we're going to call it. Like I just don't see them being competitive in the recreational player pool, which sort of kills the site for the professionals. And then, sorry, I just got an email. Entrepreneur Life.
Entrepreneur Life.
And then, what was I talking about? His site. And then, like to run a poker site, you have to set up like a bunch of things, right? You have to set up payment processing. You have to set up like a security team, a support team. You have to make sure like your RNG isn't hacked, your accounts can't be hacked. Maybe like you have to set up a certain authentication system to like a 2FA or something for all your accounts. You have to like get a gaming license. You have to hire a bunch of attorneys. I mean, like a lot of money goes into stuff like this. So they're gonna have to put up a lot of money or get investment somehow and to get this off the ground. And I just don't see them being able to compete. Like their business model sounds good, but it sounds good for professional players. And that's not the type of site you want to run.
I mean, I feel like it'll be better than the other alternative options. Whether they compete with Pokerstars, I'm not necessarily sure if their goal is to compete with Pokerstars. I think their goal is to just be out there, put something out there. I don't know. I don't think, as I'm talking with them, I don't think that that's the goal, is compete with stars.
It doesn't matter if their goal is to compete with stars or not.
They are competing with stars.
They are competing with stars. Like, they're after the same player pool. There's someone who wants to play poker, but they're going to be based outside the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so the same with stars. So if you're a person outside of the U.S. that wants to play poker, you can either play on the run-at-one side or you can play on Pokerstars. That means like Pokerstars is a direct competitor to run-at-one. So
I think people are burnt out on stars. Obviously now there's so much bad press as well about Pokerstars. Even the recreational. I mean, it's getting to the recreational players. It's not like
that's not true at all.
I mean, not all of them, sure, but some of them.
It's okay. Well, let's actually talk about this, because like that's just a misconception. Like, stars is crushing now. They're doing quite well. Like, so first of all, a lot of the changes that were made don't affect the recreational players at all, to like from their perspective. So either A, they don't know about the changes, which like I didn't know about the changes until like, you know, people informed me, or I had to like search these forums, which are like a recreational player is not like me fucking browsing NVG, figuring out what Pokerstars is up to every day with their rake changes. And it's not like Pokerstars makes it obvious or announces like what they're really doing. Like, a lot of the updates, they're hidden, you know, like they do a good job of like keeping it on the down low. You need to sort of dig out the information. So first of all, the information doesn't necessarily get to them. If the information doesn't necessarily get to them, then when they're playing, they can't really tell what's going on, or they just simply don't care. And third, if you actually just like look at like how their events are doing, like I don't know about online because I don't have the numbers, but if you look at how their like live events are going, and we can talk about, I think EPT Barcelona we talked about this before, about the incidents that happened with me, a year before me with like Jeans and Human,
Donnie Stern,
Donnie Ben86. And then like even this year, there were like a bunch of incidents that people brought up that were just sort of swept under the rug. Obviously, like from all these incidents that happened, there haven't been like any substantial changes or even like admissions of guilt or wrongdoing from the Pokerstars staff, yet they still get record numbers, right? This year they broke a few records for the number of people that actually signed up and played the tournament. And that's the only thing that's really important to them, is that people are coming and fucking bringing money, and they're making rake off the number of entries. Like, their bottom line is like a publicly traded company, or as a company in general, that's all they should really care about. Like, if things are going good, there's no reason to like throw out a press release saying, oh, look at all this bad stuff that happens, we gotta fix it. I mean, if stuff is going good for them, then there's no reason for them to make any adjustments on their current strategy, which is real shitty. Which is real shitty for the game of poker, and real shitty for, you know, like professional players. But
right, exactly. It's all, yeah. It's not very.
But from a business perspective, it's like I don't see what they're doing wrong. Like, if more people are coming to an event you're throwing, even though it's getting shittier and shittier. Like, have you seen The Wire? You've seen The Wire, right?
Surprisingly, no. I haven't.
So there's a scene in The Wire where Stringer Bell, who is he's like the second in charge, the drug kingpin guy. He's trying to negotiate a deal where he gets like a new supply of heroin, and before he negotiates that deal, they're on their current supply of heroin, and they're running out of it, but like the heroin fiends still need the heroin. So what they're doing is they're cutting it with a bunch of stuff. And we've all been there. We've all cut drugs with a little bit of something. So they're just like diluting. So they're just diluting heroin over and over again. And then like one of his lieutenants, the guy who's selling drugs in the street, says like, man, people are complaining about this. Like, this isn't going to fly. And then Stringer says something like you're selling, the numbers are up. The thing about dope fiends is they're always going to be dope fiends. Like, if you give them dope, they're going to buy it. If you give them dope that's half as strong or a third as strong, they're just going to buy twice as much of it.
So what you're saying from poker is?
Well, the relation to poker is obviously the people that are playing these events are going up regardless of the quality of the events, the security in the events, or like the actual price in terms of rake, or the, like the hospitality in terms of like the hotels, the venues, stuff like that have all been deteriorating. But as the tournament director, or as the tournament sponsor, if you look at it as a business, despite all these bad things happening, they're actually doing quite well. So from their eyes, there's actually no need for them to make any changes in the current system.
Maybe not right now, but hopefully other sites will start. There's really no competition as well either. There's really not much else out there where people can go. There's no one else that's on a comparable level. And I mean, that's sort of why they can do this with the site, is that no one's really close to competing with them. So they can not work, give a fuck. Exactly. I mean, yeah, sure. Makes sense, right? Let's make as much money as we possibly can in all situations, right? But it's really not how Pokerstars was built. That's not how online poker was built. That's not how it got so popular. And hopefully, Run It Once Poker can have some sort of
What I found like really funny was that you remember like right after all the original Stars changes happened and like all the players sort of got together, and I think it was Ansky who like got people together, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna sit out for 3 days, and we're really
striking.
And like I think I went on this podcast back, this is like over a year ago, and I said, yeah, that's not gonna work. Like, you guys are idiots. Like, what are you doing? And obviously it didn't work. And then like if you look at Ansky, he's probably raked the most on Pokerstars since then, right? He's been playing all day, every day. Like, nothing has changed for him, which sort of like proves the point to the sites that they can just like his protest was sort of like a green light for the site to just do whatever they want, because like the guy who led the protest is now just like okay with not getting rake back and not or paying like twice or 3 times the rate he was normally paying just to play the site. I mean, like he might play more now than he did back then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's battling a lot. And I mean, yeah, I feel like it's only going to keep getting worse and worse on Star. I mean, it's just because they have no competition, as you said, right? There's no other sites that have like anything. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? No, there's really just
like the other thing about Stars is like they're the only site that you can sort of be comfortable with about like the security of the games and the security of your money, because like on a lot of the other sites, I mean, there's some other like legit sites as well, but like on a lot of the other sites, there's some real shady shit that goes down.
Like what sites? Like what sites, Jason?
Well, you heard about what actually happened with the Bovada?
I heard some speculation from different people, but nothing.
Okay, so what I heard was where they have their gaming license from? The
Kawasaki Wookie. Kawanaki.
Let's call it the Kawawaki Indian tribe or whatever.
Okay, Kawawaki Indian tribe.
They got their gaming license from them. So it turns out like the guy who owns Bovada used to be like the chief of this tribe or something like that.
Okay.
And what happened was like he wasn't the chief. I don't know if I'm getting the story right, but he wasn't the chief, so he could like own this company, and he's going to be like the chief again or something like that. So he can't own the company, which is why he sold it to Ignition. But then, like right after he sold it to Ignition, he pulled, as the chief of this Kawasaki Gaming Commission, he pulled the license from Bovada, which is now Ignition. So he just basically sold his company and then fucked over the company he sold it to.
Wow. I mean, so how does this relate to exactly what came out about the DOJ stuff, where they were doing something with the Kawasaki, whatever tribe? I guess they were doing something with them where they couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that was part of it. That might be, I don't know. I mean, like, the point is like, there's definitely just like shady shit that goes on. And the problem as a player is like it's your money that they're fucking around with. So now like players who are on Bovada have to transfer their money to Ignition, and then like now Ignition doesn't have a gaming license, and like who knows like how they cash out money or how they can payment process without a gaming license, and then what was that other site like Full Flush that Like they got their gaming license.
Luke Shorts had a poker site. Full Flush? No,
I think the site was called Full Flush or something like that. It was like on some network, and they got their gaming license pulled, so they had to shut down. And they're like, "We'll pay everyone back." And it's been like 2 weeks, and no one's gotten paid.
I mean, that's why people take the risk and they'll play on a Pokerstars over some of these other sites. Is that if you're an American, like okay, first of all, you're an American, right? And you're gonna get mad at someone in America for wanting to play. I mean, okay, whatever. I know people are gonna say all these other things, but if you decide poker's your option, right? If you decide, and I know you're gonna say we're gonna talk about that. If you decide poker's your option, and you look at the sites you have in America, and obviously most people that are outside America are gonna say, "Why don't you just move outside America?" And yeah, sure, I understand that, but when you look at the options, like I can't fault. I don't fault anyone for making a decision or doing something or.
Yeah, I have no problem with anyone VPNing. And I don't think anyone should have any problem with anyone VPNing. And like going back to like the instances, like remember like the whole Brian Hastings thing, and like everyone was like, "Oh my God, this fucking guy, multi-accounting." Like, first of all, when he was playing high stakes, he actually told a lot of the people he was playing it was him on his account, and like including stars pros that were in his game, and no one reported him.
Right.
Like so. There have been people who have been like way more malicious about multi-accounting to actually fuck people over. He just wanted to play and live in the US, which is like a reasonable, like it's like a reasonable thing. And somehow he like gets the brunt of the blame for this whole situation. And then the other problem I have is like, it's, without getting too technical, there are multiple ways for you to VPN without being detected. And there's ways where if you do it like with a shitty VPN, it'll be easy for you to detect. But for the people that like do it correctly, and
which are a lot of people.
Yeah, which are a lot of people.
Okay.
The site doesn't have any recourse. Like even if like it's rumored that they've been playing out of the country for like years, the site doesn't have any recourse to like shut their account down because they have no like IP proof or like actual proof of them VPNing. And they do a lot of things like log in from this VPN or like call from a number where like in the country that you're in and stuff like that to attempt to like catch these people. But the main problem I have is like anytime you have a rule that isn't enforceable. So the things I'm talking about are like VPNing and to more of an extent multi-accounting. Like it's almost impossible to enforce rules against multi-accounting. It's like questionable even like what multi-accounting is. Like if I have someone in the room and we're looking at the same screen, like does that count as multi-accounting or not? So I feel like the sites, for any rule that they don't have like a proper enforcement mechanism for, should just like change the rule so it's more fair to all. So like the example here is like instead of maybe on Stars, you're allowed to change the name of your account like once every 2 months or something like that, so you don't have to multi-account, or just make everything anonymous, stuff like that. Well, stuff like that like levels the playing field and doesn't necessarily fuck over like the people that are playing by the rules when other people aren't playing by the rules, but like don't know or like there's no way that they're going to get caught, so they don't really care about that.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of people that are now doing the reverse. They VPN from Europe into Ignition because they can't play Ignition, so it's like I mean I don't know, it's okay. It's just the whole situation. I mean obviously
now that I got like my money off bovada, I guess I can talk about this, but like I had a VPN set up. It's like actually kind of ridiculous. So on bovada, you can play anywhere besides, I think, Nevada and a few other states. Like from my IP on my house in Nevada, I can't log in. So I had to VPN somewhere else in the country that wasn't Nevada, but not outside the US.
Oh.
I actually just VPN'd to Arizona. I was playing from Arizona. I think it was Arizona.
Oh. I mean, do they care? I don't know.
It's just like a ridiculous rule. Like you can play only in the U.S., but then like only in certain like subsections of the U.S. and they have no. I don't know. It just seems like very ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all. I don't know. I try not to think about it anymore, but it's yeah. I don't know. Is it still discussed among people? I don't know. Is it still something that people are talking about? There's really not many cash games anymore anyway. So I feel like all of it's happening. It's happening at tournaments, and I know it's happening at tournaments because I've seen it within the past couple months. I mean, I don't know. It's
definitely happening in cash games. I know for a fact that there's this Russian guy who sells or sold bovada accounts. So a lot of the six max Russian dudes that play like cap on, I don't want to name any of their screen names, but like if you pull up the lobby, you look at the cap six max lobby, you look at the cap heads up lobby, a lot of the accounts from like Russia or Belarus or something like that, they were VPNing to Canada to play on the on Bodog. And they probably still are. And at that sort of like made the games a little bit tougher. I think this happened like a year and a half.
I mean, okay. Well, that's why the games on Bovada, the 1020 PLO games, that's the games I've mainly been playing for the past year. They've gotten, since Bitcoin got incorporated. I mean, there's some guy. I mean, like, listen. This is what's like. There's things happening on Bovada. There's people that have multiple accounts at one time playing on the site. There's guys that are selling, as you mentioned. There's guys that are selling a lot of accounts to people. Like this is going on. This just happens. And
I won't say who this is, but a friend of mine went to go over to his house. He's I think the max tables you can play on. What's the max number of tables you can play on Bodog?
Four for most people.
Yeah. So he was 8 tabling on 2 different accounts. He just had like his Bovada account open and his Bodog account open. They're connected to 2 different internet connections.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, like if you think about it, if someone like if he could do that, if you get on the same table, it's just like so easy to collude, like so easy to collude. And the problem with collusion is, we should actually talk about that. I actually wanted to talk about like collusion because you had Max Silver on the podcast. And
Max Silver on the podcast. Yeah, what you got to say about that, Jim? I'm sure you got something fired up in the fucking.
No, I have nothing against Max. He's a good guy, good poker player. The thing he was talking about though with collusion, there was like a final table where there was somewhat blatant, obvious collusion between like someone who had a piece of someone else, and obviously, you know the whole story, right? But without saying who it was, but to understand how collusion works, you have to have a fundamental understanding of how poker works, right? So like there's obvious spots that you can collude, and the spots become more and more obvious the more skilled you are at poker. The more skilled you are at tournaments, you understand like ICM values of each chip stack more, so like the distribution of chips. You understand when someone's like dumping chips or like someone is receiving a dump of chips because like the value of those chips are higher with one person than they are with the other person, especially if like the other person's all in. It's like better to keep like 2 people in than have one big stack as opposed to like so on and so forth. But most tournament directors are like completely oblivious to
bang
actual like skill edges in poker and how like semantics of poker work. So if you take like a cheating incident or a collusion incident, even if like the whole card's revealed, to a tournament director or say like to a like someone that like runs site security, they're not going to be able to tell the difference between cheating and just like bad play or good play, or they're probably not going to be able to tell the difference between bad play or good play. And because especially in like the high roller fields where a lot of the player pool has like a stellar reputation in terms of like poker ability, it's difficult for a tournament director to, like really do anything. Like for example, let's say, I'm not saying any of these people do this obviously, but let's say like one of the like Fedor is at a final table again, and he's staking one of his German buddies for the tournament, and they get into a situation that may be sort of obvious that there might be mild collusion going on.
Like them being 3-handed, potentially?
I'm not saying he's done any of this, and I'm not saying anyone is. I actually don't know of any incident of Fedor actually colluding with any of his horses. I'll just say that right now. But this is just a purely hypothetical. Like, he could like come up with a strategy explanation, because he's obviously intelligent and understands poker, of why he made a play that's basically irrefutable to like the tournament staff. Like, for example, in an instance where, let's say, he has pocket kings and they're three-handed, and his buddy like four bets all in, and he doesn't want to stack his buddy, he could fold. And to anyone like related to poker, it would be an obvious level of collusion. But it's easy for like a developed player to come and say like, yeah, I had a read, like pot odds, like a detailed explanation as to why he played the hand this way that could be justified in some format. Like I've seen more ridiculous folds than someone folding kings pre-flop, so you can't really, and then like the tournament director has to like go against like one of the top players to like enforce the ruling. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of how things work, I guess, right? It's people buy pieces of their friends, they get to the final. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what can you, I don't think there's any been. I don't know if there's been anything with Fedor.
Honestly, I would do it if I had like a piece of someone, and like I would collude for sure.
I mean, I'm sure it happens. Like, I'm sure it happens in some ways. It just has to. I don't. Especially if there's no whole card showed or anything like that.
I mean, even if there are whole cards shown, like you could make minor adjustments, and like no one could really say anything. Yeah. Like, for example, blind versus blind situation. You normally, let's say you open like 50% of your hands against someone you have a piece of who's short. You could open maybe 30% of your hands, and so he's getting a walk 20% of the time more often. And no one's going to be like, you normally open your king six suited, but you folded here. Why? Like that's never going to happen. So,
Brian says, so you're ripping on someone now. You are saying you would do it too, though, but you're ripping on someone that would.
I'm not ripping on anyone. I am not ripping on anyone. I'm not even saying Fedor is doing it. It's just an example of something that might happen. Like, people are fucking horrible at listening.
Bang, bang. Let's get some shout outs, guys. We got a lot of names out there in the chat. It's been a while. We got a lot of shout outs. You brought the gun today. How do you mean that's the last time you're going to come on? How could this be the last time to come on? I don't understand.
Okay, so like, because I feel like when I come on here, I sort of repeat like a lot of the same things.
We're not repeating anything. What are you talking about? We didn't repeat any of this stuff. This is all new stuff.
Like nothing really changes within the poker community. Nothing really changes within the poker world. And like, I just think it's going to, I think it's going to get worse and worse. And I honestly don't really like most of the people that are involved in poker. Like, so it's sort of a community that I want to like eventually distance myself from. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
Like,
yeah.
all my close friends, I'm going to like that I met through poker. I'm going to be friends with them with or without poker. Right. But like people that I interact with solely because of my profession, I want to get away from that. Which like means doing less things like this, like coming on, like doing these podcasts and like talking about issues and having people watch me talk about issues and like tweet at me and shit like that. Like eventually I'm just gonna like call it quits and just like not talk with anyone in the poker community.
Don't worry, we're gonna have the GTO Life podcast. We'll be getting you on that one, talk about the Entrepreneur Life world. Don't worry, we'll be doing that. Let me get some shouts. Let me see what's happening here. Michael Wolf in the chat. What's up, puppy? David Huber out there. Beaupert, Eric Handfland, I don't know, so Handfland, Kush Strange, Yao Gal, Alex Bebitz, Puppy, Connor Murphy, Casa Mota, Mita, Lee Foster. I've been on the game for 2 years. Still love your channel, Joe. Gracias, senor, gracias. D-Nag is a bad rag. What's up, puppy, on Twitch? Chris P. Butt Farm Poker, what up, Butt? Jeff Gem, Tobias, T Grinder, Twin Fang, Tupac, Tim F. You want to get some shout outs, J-Mo?
Shout outs. Let me think.
Well, you got any girls and any people out there, special girl in your life?
He's running a successful, I told him to give him a shout out on your podcast, successful.
Who was that? What was the person's name again?
Dean. A successful Bitcoin casino called betking.io. If you want to do some gambling online, you should hit that up. Who else should I give shout outs to? Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else.
Bang, bang. You got a girlfriend? What's up with the love life, kid?
Sort of been seeing. I actually just got back to Vegas. But I was traveling in Asia for like the past month and a half. I got back like a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, been doing a little playing a little chess out there.
Little AGG circuit, huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
You made a rude comment on one of my Snapchats.
What I say? What did you say? What was
You were
the
like,
comment?
it's like, oh, how much was that girl? It was rude.
Oh, you were out. How much? Honestly, what you want me to expect? All you talk about the HGG hooker grind life out in Asia. I'm to assume that that's a paid for woman. So you're saying it wasn't?
And it was not a pay, but like there isn't that much of a difference because like if you're not paying for it, you're still spending money, you know.
Listen, if I ever Snapchat myself with an Asian woman, I expect you to say how much was that woman. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it makes sense, man. Let me take some questions from the chat. Let me. So, what's your plan, kid? You got entrepreneur, just building businesses, trying to make all the money. You got the house. You're redoing the house. The pool looks nice.
Yeah,
looking good.
Yeah. Should I like give a tour?
Yeah. Let's get a tour. Let's go.
Hold on, let me unplug my computer. Yeah, so I got back to Vegas, like I think last Friday, and the hot tub wasn't. This is like the first time I've been back from like the pool being completely done, and the hot tub wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why. I like left it on all night, and it turns out the gas just wasn't hooked up, so I didn't have. I should like show you. So this is like my living room.
Oh, nice. All right, okay.
Pool out here.
Nice kitchen.
That's completed.
Let's see the pool, huh?
Yeah, it's
okay,
like
nice little basketball hoop.
And then I got like a TV up here, and then like I got this VR system set up. So like I grind some VR. I've been playing like a couple hours of VR games a day, and like having a lot of fun with that. So I got this set up here.
Nice.
And then like that's about it. I'll show you the upstairs area, but I don't really feel like walking upstairs.
Listen, man, I know it's hard to walk upstairs, kid. You know, kid like yourself, legs are tired.
And then
VR day, I understand. I get it.
It's a pretty sweet office.
Nice little office. Looks like set up for some terms of service break-in in that office right there.
No. Everything is legit. I have like 4 routers for, you know, just in case 3 of them break down.
Mm-hmm. What's your plan moving forward, man? You said you wanted to build a poker-related business, but you want to get out of poker.
But when did I say I wanted to build a poker-related business?
Something you said you're doing something with poker, a little bit of poker. I don't know. That's what you said at the beginning.
I said I'm like doing something that like my skill set in poker like translates sort of well into. Like, coming from like a gambling background. Yeah, I don't really want to elaborate on like what I'm doing.
Why? What is it like? Well, why not?
I mean, if I told you why not, it would be like
they kill you? They're gonna kill you?
No, they're not gonna kill me. It's more of like a solo venture, but I'm working with some other people. And
are you sure it's not the GPL?
Yeah.
Just be honest. Are you working for the GPL? Just be straight with me on
this. I wish I had an internship unpaid internship at the GPL. I would take that in a heartbeat.
Okay.
For the love of the game.
Connor Murphy, JMO, thoughts on Martin Shkreli?
Don't know who that is.
It's that guy that bought the drug and raised the price.
Oh, Martin Shkreli? I actually think he's like kind of a cool guy. I mean, it sounds bad, but he hosts these like he's a really smart guy. He has like a PhD in biochemistry or something like that, and he hosts these like Google Hangouts where he talks about like sort of interesting science stuff, like he's just like an overall smart guy that seems like that you should check out his YouTube channel. He posts a lot of interesting stuff. Like obviously people are going to get like a bad impression on him given like how he's portrayed or what he's done.
Right.
But from a business sense, like I don't really mind like what he's doing.
Oh man. All right. N1CHS. What does Jason think about the Streamhouse charity?
What's the Streamhouse charity?
Jimmy Stapler, Kevin Martin, Matt Staples and Jeff Gross are doing a 24-hour thing where everyone streams at one point and for charity for the Michael Phelps Foundation, which helps people learn how to swim or something like that, I believe.
Learn how to swim.
I don't know. It's
yeah,
Michael
I mean,
Phelps.
that seems
Shout to Michael Phelps.
That seems all right. Like, I question like the other dudes besides Jeff's motives for actually doing this. Like, I bet like,
they probably want to help kids swim, man. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What, you think it's like a selfish endeavor to make themselves look a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, of course, for sure.
That's what poker is, right? It's a selfish thing. They're entrepreneurs as well.
I guess you could call them that. But I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, I think it's fine if they were raising money for charity.
You laugh at charity, huh?
Like Jeff Gross is like, I've only talked with him a few times, but he seems like one of the nicest guys ever. Like, he's just super nice all the time. He probably doesn't care about like he's probably the only one out of the group that actually cares that much about the cause. And he's probably the one that like brought it to the group for them to do, because like I know he's friends with Michael Phelps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, good for him. I
like it, man. I like it. And I think they're doing well. They're raising a lot of money. It looks like it's going successful. So
the other three guys should fucking figure out how to like raise some fucking money for themselves, you know, like pay for a few buy-ins.
They've got Pokerstars deals to do that. We don't need that.
Yeah, that is
sponsored by Pokerstars. Pokerstars gives them money.
Yeah, that is true. They're actually getting paid a decent amount from Pokerstars, which is the fucking disgusting thing. It's like Jamie Staples is probably getting paid like over $100K from like the rake back that like you and I deserve just so he can fucking stream like his poor play. And
nah, I don't deserve no rake back. I don't know who deserves rake back anymore. I don't know who it is. Maybe it's a reg, maybe it's the rec. I don't exactly know, but
I mean, it's fucked up if you like follow the money trail. Like, all of this money is taken out of the VIP system, and they have like all these new promotions. They're getting all these sports stars. They're sponsoring the GPL. They're paying all these streamers to do shit. They're even paying like fucking Hearthstone streamers to start playing poker on, because they have like a huge following.
That makes sense. Entrepreneur Life. That seems like a good strategy.
It makes sense, but like going back to what they were saying about like where the money was going, which I called out immediately. It was like a bullshit lie. Like, what they said and what Daniel said was they're going to like reinvest the money in some way, or that there's going to be like new stuff coming out. That was an obvious lie, but now it's come clear that the new stuff is like nothing that is good for like the current player pool, besides maybe there's newer, softer players in the player pool, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's just like not a good time to be a poker pro. I'm kind of happy that like I'm not playing on stars that much, and like
I love when we have Jame on the chat. The chat gets so excited. They're so, this guy hates everything. He hates the world and all this kind of stuff. I like that.
It's ridiculous. I'm like the happiest guy ever. I'm like I love every day I wake up and it's a fantastic day. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. The only reason I appear cynical about these things is because of the topics we're discussing, which everyone in poker should share similar thoughts to me and should be just as cynical. Like, I would be way more cynical if I got into poker maybe 2 or 3 years later and I haven't like built up like the bankroll, the ability to play, like the friendship connections I have. I would be in a much, much worse spot right now. And I would be like, I'd be a lot more upset than I am.
Okay.
Like, don't you feel that way? It's like, let's say instead of starting to play like 25 cent, 50 cent full ring, no limit in what, 2008, 2007, when did you start playing?
2007, yeah.
Started playing in 2012. How fucked would you be right now? Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of people like watching or listening. Like,
that's true. I mean, especially play cash games, right? I mean, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go up to. You gotta, I mean, now your skills are site selecting, really game selecting, fastest script, you know,
Really,
like those.
really working your ass off to get good. Like, I mean, I don't play that much poker anymore, but I still back a decent number of players, and I'm in like groups with them, and just to see that the work they do just to maintain, like, I'll just say this, like, seeing like what they're doing just to maintain their abilities to be elite, like the people that are below them are just completely fucked.
Yeah.
Like completely fucked. Like I feel like the elite players right now are gonna continue to distance themselves from the intermediate players because there isn't like a stepping stone anymore where you can move up in stakes, where you
Right.
can like jump, like, but back in my day it was easy. Played like, no, I mean, like, in terms of like moving up, like when you got pretty good, you could play 5-10, you take shots at 10-20. There's a big jump between 10-20 and 25-50 because it's like 2.5x. Like that was a huge jump for me. But then after that, like, it was just, if I wanted to play higher, I would take maybe like 40-80 action, 50-100 action, 75-150 action, and I could sell the rest because I built up like a reasonable track record and people would invest in me. So it was just like smooth sailing for me to do whatever. But right now, if you're playing like 3-6, 2-4, like it's a huge jump between 2-4 and 5-10, and it's a huge jump between 5-10 and 10-20. And a lot of the 25-50, 50-100 ranks are playing a lot more 10-20. Like guys like OTB Red Baron are going to like be jumping into the 6 max pools on stars. And if you're someone who's playing like low or looking to move up to 10-20, it's just not going to happen. Like you're just not, at no point in your career are you ever going to be competitive with like the top 3 players in that player pool. And it's a kind of depressing thing to hear, but like it's just the truth.
You got better chance at PLO, the great game of pot limit Omaha.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've heard. I actually wish I got like, I'm actually up like quite a bit lifetime PLO. I played probably maybe live. I probably played like 400 or 500 hands, and I think I've won like 10 buy-ins or something like that. I played a lot of the half PLO, half no limit games in Australia when they ran.
You sound like you're ready. You sound like you're ready for some high stakes PLO online now.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny Tila story? So he was in. This is around the same time these games were running. So the Crown Melbourne, it's where Aussie Millions is held.
Melbourne.
They used to hold private games or semi-private games in the the upscale high limit area. It's called the Mahogany Room. I don't think they do it anymore, but it was like real fancy. Like mostly Chinese people up there. You had to wear like dress pants and shoes to get in and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they had like a high stakes PLO game. It's like one of the nicest rooms they have there, and it's right above Crown Towers, which out of the 3 hotels at Crown is like by far the nicest hotel. Like the other 2 hotels are like maybe like $200 to $300 a night, and Crown Towers is like $850 a night or something ridiculous. So anyways, I think too is just like playing this game. They're playing like super high stakes. It's either like, I want to say either 100, 200 with an ante or straight 200, 400 PLO. And obviously like they invite him in this game. He's like drinking and stuff like that. But his time in Australia, he despite playing like super high stakes, he didn't secure himself like proper living arrangements. So he was living in I don't know if I remember the story correctly, but he was living in a shared hostel. He was like on the top bunk, and then like there's this couple on the bottom bunk that would like always fuck at night. So he would play like a session, get back at like 4 a.m., be down. I think he lost a lot that trip. Let's just say like a few buy-ins, so maybe like down like 40 or 80K, and then he would be like in this $15 a night shared hostel, and he wouldn't be able to go to sleep because like the people in the bottom bunk were just like fucking at like 4 a.m. or something like that.
Why wouldn't he just get a hotel? I don't understand.
That's just I don't know. That's just him.
I mean, Tua's gonna, man. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. I don't.
But yeah, that was hilarious.
Fucking Tua, man. Hope he got out of that situation. Hope he figured out his life there.
Tua's like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. Makes even more sense why he'd be living in a shared hostel.
Yeah.
You know. So what do you got planned here, JMO? What do you got going on the next couple months? It's October 12th right now. Christmas is coming up. Halloween's coming up. Thanksgiving, a time to give thanks, is coming up. What's your plan, Poppy? What you got happening, kid?
I'm gonna be in Vegas for like the next few weeks. I got some stuff to take care of here, and then I've just been like, one thing that I've taken that I've disliked about traveling is like, I watch a lot of football during NFL season, and it really sucks being on like a schedule opposite to like Pacific time, or even Eastern time is a little too late for me, but like Pacific time is almost perfect for me because Sunday games start at 10 a.m. And I've been getting up, like I've been on like a fantastic routine. I've been getting up at like 8 a.m. every day, going to bed at like midnight and stuff like that. And it's just been like, I've spent literally years like on average, like going to bed at like 5 p.m. and waking up at like 3 a.m. and it's like the most random hours. So it's like a very nice change of pace that let's get on like a normal routine like that. I'm actually gonna be doing some more traveling. I'm gonna go to Macau at the end of this month. There's like Golden Week, which is when all the Chinese degens come and play poker. So the cash games are going to be pretty good there. And then there's a tournament series, ACOP. I'm going to play that. And then after that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Yeah, honestly, ACOP might be like the last tournament series I ever play, like I ever travel to and play.
Wow. Entrepreneur Life.
I don't think I'm going to play any more of the EPTs. Like it's like, I'm just like not very happy playing them, and also like the costs add up, and not that I can't afford it or anything, because like every time I go, I always stay at like the Stars Hotel, which in Monte Carlo is the Monte Carlo Bay Casino, which is like 400 euros a night, and in Barcelona is the Arts, which is like I think 500 euros a night.
Yeah.
And then they'll hack your laptop for free. So I'm just like, not that like I can't like afford like spending that, but it like really cuts into my ROI, and like I just don't enjoy the experience of like the value I get for staying at like a $500 hotel just to play a poker tournament isn't very appealing to me. So yeah, I'm just like not going to do that anymore. And ACOP I want to go to because mostly for the week before, the cash games will be good, and I still enjoy playing like live cash a lot more than live tournaments. And you generally could play much higher stakes in live cash than you can in live tournaments, unless you go deep, obviously, or unless you're playing like high rollers with much tougher fields. But yeah, then after that, like I think I'm just like done with playing live poker unless it's convenient for me.
GG. Yeah. Full blown entrepreneur life, huh? Are you gonna get into the entrepreneur forums? Are you getting into the 2+2 of the entrepreneur world right now?
I've been doing some reading. It's I like I'm actually kind of happy with like, for example, yesterday I had someone send me a you might know Matt, what's his last name? Matt Pilecki?
Yeah, Matt Pilecki, yeah.
Yeah, he used to play poker, and he's like a real nice guy. Now he does like a lot of real estate things. So I had someone else like send me like a proposal to like do some real estate stuff with them, and like it's just like reminding me that it's nice to develop like connections in poker that can pay off after poker is done. Like I don't think he plays much poker anymore, and like we never talk about poker. But just to have someone who's like successful in other fields that you can like, and my reputation is good enough that I can like go to someone and ask them and generally get a response is like one of the benefits of like in general being in like my position or a position of, you know, someone respected within poker.
That makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I guess that's kind of, you know, you can leverage your ability, you leverage your knowledge, you leverage your relationships, and
yeah, it's all about leverage.
All about leverage. Is it all about leverage?
It's all about leverage.
All about leverage, man.
It's all about liquidity, and it's all about leverage.
All about liquidity, all about leverage.
Yeah. Alex Dreyfus didn't have enough liquidity, it appears.
I don't know, man. So, all right. So we got to know, you guys are going to be doing Vegas, a little bit of Macau, a little bit of that. I guess then, yeah. So people, you don't want people to follow along with your entrepreneurship journey?
If I'm gonna like finally finish like writing up the first blog that I'm gonna post on your site. Assuming it's still cool. Sometime in the next week. Like I have some ideas down. Like I want to make it not that related to poker, but obviously there's some topics that if I want to talk about, they're going to be related to poker, considering like most of my following is going to be related to poker. And I do still think I'm like relatively in the know and do have important things to say about what's going on. But the first entry I was going to make was actually just like about, I would like outline where this blog was going to go, but it wouldn't be that much content. And I was just going to like outline a trip I took earlier with a few of my friends. We went to Japan and like took some pictures, and I was just kind of like about that experience and stuff like that.
Went to Japan, took some pictures? What kind of pictures you take in Japan? That's the highlight of the trip?
Actually, one of my buddies took all the pictures, and I had to like.
Wait, your buddies took the pictures?
It's not what you're thinking. It's mostly of just like a few nightclubs, going out to like nice restaurants, you know, like exploring the city, stuff like that.
So you had a cameraman.
It's actually almost impossible to do degen shit in Japan as a foreigner.
Why?
Because like there's extreme amounts of racism and like a xenophobia where okay, so a funny story. Me and like four of my friends were in Osaka, which is like the second largest city in Japan, I think. It's like cheaper and has more of a like young person vibe than Tokyo does. So we're like cruising along this like main street where like all the degen stuff happens, and then there was this one like it was like a sexual harassment club where it was like a simulated like you would go in. I mean, we weren't allowed in, which is the point of the story, but according to like the posters outside and like the video, like you walk in and it's like a subway and there's just girls there, and like you drink there, but it's like they're acting like they're just like on their way to work, you know, like they're on their cell phones, stuff like that, and you get to like just like go up there and like grab their boobs or grab their ass with them like that. Like it's real weird. But we tried to get into that, and then they were just like, no, definitely not. And then like I asked one of my Japanese friends, and they're like, yeah, like you can only go if like you're older and with like a bunch of like older Japanese businessmen, but like a bunch of like young kids that are just trying to like get into some weird shit that they don't allow it. Also all the brothels there are just like super racist as well.
Against the white man?
Oh, yeah, against the white man. You can only like only the only ones that like accept white men are the ones run by the Chinese that have Chinese girls.
You can't. So grabbing pussy there, is that a thing?
Not if you're a white boy.
Donald Trump style, you can't grab
you can't grab by the pussy.
Are you famous enough in somewhere to grab someone's pussy? Is that you?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably happened before.
You've been famous enough, and a woman let you touch her vagina, or maybe didn't let. I don't know what happened. What do you mean? Yeah, where? What? Where?
I don't know. It's probably happened. Like, you know, you drink, you do things you don't really like remember fully.
I mean, I'd remember that.
I mean, like I went through a phase where I drank. Like I talked about this earlier, but like I was like going out like every night and getting blackout drunk for like 3 nights out of the week at least. And now I just can't do it anymore. I realized like I can't drink very well anymore. I used to be proud of how much I used to be proud of how much I can drink, especially for like an Asian person. Like Asians aren't known for their drinking, and I can pretty much outdrink like most white people that I know that aren't like professional drinkers. And by professional, I mean like actually like drink quite a bit.
So when you get drunk, you get out of line with women, it sounds like?
Yeah, a little bit. Also, like my Twitter has been kind of tame because I haven't been drinking enough. I used to just drink and like tweet like dumb shit. Those were the days.
Huh. Interesting. Is that why white guys, no, so I haven't watched these in a long time, but earlier in the year, I did a little research on Japanese pornography, and I noticed there was no like white guys in the Japanese porn. It was all Japanese guys, like older Japanese guys for the most part.
I don't really know why. I assume it's because they film it all in Japan and they don't have that many. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to recommend, I don't know if I recommended this already, but I'm going to recommend a documentary. It's called, what's it called? The Great Happiness Space, Tales of an Osaka Love Thief. And it's about this guy who, his name is like, I forgot his name, but he runs a host club. You know what a host club is?
A host club is something where...
It's any club where like it's mainly directed towards like one sex or the other. So like you go in and then there's like either guys or girls that work there that are paid to party with you, and they all like look good and are like professional drinkers, partiers, like socialites.
Oh, it's related to Poppy's Cuddle Cafe. Okay, yeah. Poppy's Cuddle Cafe. It's one of our sponsors in the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Poppy's Cuddle Cafe. It's in Tokyo. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. But tell us about the host club.
Okay, so the documentary is talking about. I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically, his name is Issei. That's his right. His name is Issei, and he runs a host club. And basically, like him and like his other hosts, they just drink and party with women, and they get paid like an absurd amount of money to do it. And it turns out that like most of the women are hookers or escorts or something of that nature themselves that like grind all day and want like some sort of release. So they literally spend like every dollar or yen or whatever they have at the end of work at these clubs. So like you're a hooker, you just get like fucked all day, and then you're off work and you spend all your money like buying like $1,000 bottles at like these gentlemen clubs to hang out with these guys. It's a really interesting documentary. They interview like both sides of the.
Is this what you're thinking about? Is this the business potentially?
You know. At one point, there was I considered like just for the. I actually talked with Fees about this. This was like 2 years ago, but I was like, man, like I think I can get a job at like one of these host clubs and just like be a host. And
you'd be the host. The girls would come pay. That you'd be the host in the Japanese host clubs.
It wasn't going to be in Japan. It was going to be in like some other country. Because like the Japanese are again like really racist and like
yeah. Why don't they have a host clubs in America? I don't understand that.
It's just like a different culture. Like the Asian culture is a lot different than it is in the US.
I want to be Asian, man.
But so I was thinking of actually just like attempting to get a job as like a host. Like I wouldn't get paid much. I just like wanted to do it for like a few months, just like drink every night and hang out with like middle-aged women and that would pay. It never came around to it, but a few of my friends who are living in Thailand, there was one night when I think there was 3 of them. They all went out, and it was like it was probably later than that, like 3 or 4 a.m. and like the club that they were at was closed, and they were just like wandering around the streets trying to find another club. So they walk into this one club, and it's like a bunch of girls in the club. Like it looked like it was it was lit, as the kids say these days.
Mm-hmm.
And like the guy at the bar was like, no, like you guys can't come in here. And they're like, what? We like, there's nothing else open. We just want to drink. And then he like looks at them and he's like, okay, but like you can't take any of the girls. And they were confused. And then eventually they realized that like it was like a host club. Like all the guys were working there, and all the girls were paying to like party with these guys. So if they like went and like swiped one of the girls, it would fuck over like an actual employee at the club.
Oh.
But so that they did whatever. They got like pretty drunk and they partied all night. And then at the end of the night, the guy at the bar, I think, offered all three of them a job. They're like, anytime you want to come back and like, here's my card, you can work here.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Sounds like I got a career if things go south here in America.
I actually think you would do quite well at a host club.
Surprisingly, JMO, I think I do pretty well too. But
yeah, because you're like, you got like fun party vibe, like fairly good looking, you're in good shape.
Fairly good look. JMO, my God, I have first compliment of the day. Woo, first compliment of the boys. Mark it down on the calendar, baby. Jason Moe, October 12th, 6:18 p.m. Central Standard Time. The first compliment on all 10 of his Poker Life podcast appearances. Thank you, man. JMO, Poppy, man, means a lot, man. Oof. Come from JMO, man. That must mean some good things, man. All right, so that could be my backup plan. Last thing we're going to talk about is Ben86. The Ben86 people are in the chat. Jane Andes out there, Liam Kavanaugh, Ben86 stuff.
Oh God.
What you think about the Ben86 and Doug Paul situation? The incident, the coaching not gone well, waiting a long time to release it, being on a bed 5 a.m. What's your thoughts there?
I think mistakes are made on. I mean, like, I'm going to be a little bit biased because I'm better friends with Doug than Ben, even though like me and Ben talk on occasion. I have really nothing against him other than like the things that Doug has told me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could have been handled a little bit better by both parties. Like, I definitely think Ben is in the wrong with the whole coaching thing. Like, he definitely accepted a lot of coaching from Doug for Heads Up No Limit. Especially, and it's, I lived with Doug at the time, so like I knew it was going down, but it's a little bit different just to like go over sort of like basics of poker. It's not like one person who's substantially better than another person to a point where they're just like coaching them the basics. Because Ben at the time was probably like a top 20, maybe top 10 Heads Up No Limit player. Like he was good. Like when the lobby was 10 tables at 5,100, which is like the lowest stake he would really play, like no one would really sit it. So that's just, it's not like it was like a coaching deal where they're both beginners. Like Ben is a legit, like straight up legit one of the best No Limit players, like regardless of how good he is at PLO. So I imagine a lot of the information that was shared was more valuable than it seems to like in the thread or to like the naked eye, because the player pool at these stakes is very small. Like you're only playing like a certain number of people, and to get a certain and the stakes are very big. So to get like coaching from maybe the best guy at the time, the guy who's beating like everyone at his stake, means like he's going to get like a lot of information that would be like directly applicable to what the game was at the time. So I don't think it was just like he like did a little bit of coaching. They talked about some stuff. Like there's some chance that like, let's say Doug gave him 2 hours of coaching or 4 hours of coaching. There's some chance that coaching was worth like $100,000 to Ben or $200,000 to Ben, given like you only need to increase your win rate a little at these high stakes to make the coaching worth it. So I don't think people obviously it was handled poorly by Ben on that aspect, and he admits it, but I don't think people really understand the magnitude of the value of information, especially at that time, or especially at that level. The other thing is like, this is sort of Doug's fault, but I've known about this incident ever since it's happened, obviously. And then the way that it was posted was like a little bit suspect. It may have looked like, Doug was like, now he's like a YouTube star or like a Twitch star. He's trying to promote his own brand. So he like, and I sort of agree that like a lot of this information if Doug wanted to make a big deal about it, should have come out like right when it happened. But like in Doug's defense, you got to think about like at the time what was going on. Like Ben was the man like back then, right? I mean, he still is, but he was. I think that year he won like $3 million playing PLO on Full Tilt or something like that. Like he was the guy. He was like touching everyone. He's probably like the best poker player in the world, if not one of the best. And Doug back then, I mean, he was good, but I don't think a lot of people considered him on, like, this is when like Doug was finally hitting his stride as being like close to the best, you know? Because there's a time when Doug was down, like he was mostly playing like 2-4 heads up, 3-6 heads up. Like he would sometimes sell action to play, 25-50 or 50-100 heads up. And then like, I think this was about the time when he was hitting a stride where he was playing high stakes. He was just like beating down everyone. He was running up a massive bankroll. So like causing such a stir in the community wasn't ideal for him. And also the problem with like outing something like this at that time was you're basically giving up a lot of information about yourself. You're giving up like the inner workings of like who's coaching who. Like, oh, now people know that like Ben and Doug are working together. So like maybe Doug will lose PLO action in the future if they think that like he's been like talking with Ben, or him and Ben are boys. Like if you're friends with Ben, I probably don't want to play PLO against you, right? Stuff like that. So I mean, it was a little suspect, the timing of it all, given what Doug's up to now. But a lot of the responses that kind of annoyed me was like, oh, like the story's kind of bullshit. You're just doing this for just for exposure. You're just doing this to like cause a stir and get your name out there. I mean, like maybe at the time that's what it looks like, but like I've had private conversations with Doug about this, and I don't think I've ever seen him more upset about like anything that has ever happened to him within his poker career. And I mean, like a lot of bad shit has happened. Like for example, there was one day where one of our affiliates who like ran our micro-gaming skin literally stole like $300,000 from us. And I mean, like that's still a lot of money now, but back then that was like a fuck ton of money to like both me, Doug, Fees had a piece of it as well, considering we had way less money back then. And like basically, like I think we've been through like a bunch of bullshit within our poker careers, dealing with like sites, dealing with people, dealing with like shady characters, basically. And I feel like Doug was more upset about the Ben86 situation, even though no money was stolen. Like he didn't lose $300,000. He didn't get like, Ben wasn't like malicious and fucking him over, but just like the way it went down, like I don't think he's ever been more upset about anything else. So like, it kind of pisses me off that like people just like sort of say what they want. Like they look at something without getting like much information and say like, oh man, like look what he's doing. Like he's only calling out Ben because like it's going to drive up the traffic to his site, stuff like that. I don't think that's true at all.
You ever been on a bed with a man? You probably have actually been on a bed with a man until 5 a.m.
Yeah. It's happened. I mean, 5 a.m. is like 6 p.m. for normal people, I feel. Or I mean, like 8 p.m. for normal people.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, like 5 a.m. is standard. You want to hear a sick story?
Sure.
This is like one of like my most degen poker moments.
Okay.
But I don't know why. Okay, so when I was living in Thailand, I don't know if I should tell that. Okay, so when I was living in Thailand, this was like 2000. Actually, you could look this up because it's the year I came in second to Sussy Smith in like the 21K heads up tournament. It was either Scoop or WQ, but I don't get those confused. So like the tournament starts at I think like noon Pacific time, which is 1 a.m. my time in Thailand. So I played from like 1 a.m. until I want to say like 8 or 9 a.m., maybe a little later. And some of my friends like went out that night, and they went back to like one of their apartments, and they had the sniffles, if you will. They were doing the sniffles.
Who doesn't get the sniffles from time to time?
When Trump gets the sniffles, it happens to the best of us. So like instead of so they hit me up, and I was like, yeah, I'll come hang out for a bit. I'm kind of tired. So I go over there, and I like join in the party at like 8 or 9 a.m. and the party goes until, I want to say, 9 or 10 p.m. that day. Okay. So I'm like sniffling for, I don't know, a long time. Mm. And then the tournament, like, okay, so the way the heads up tournament works is it went down to the final four, and then like it stops for the day, and then the next day it resumes. So it resumed again at 1 a.m. my time. So I went home at like, I want to say 10 or 11 p.m. And like, obviously I wasn't gonna be able to sleep. So it's just like, I think I ordered like a bottle of vodka I was staying in a hotel from like the room service, and I was just like drinking and blasting music. And and then so basically I just stayed up for like 24 hours or more than that. And then I had to play like these super high stakes heads up matches. And I won the first round against KT Pockby, and then I ran out of steam and lost the second round, or the finals, to Ceci Smith. But that was like one of the most degen things I've ever done.
So can't you end up in jail for the rest of your life for getting the sniffles in Thailand?
I mean, like, just the sniffles. I was just, like, you get a little congestion in your nose. It just happened to me for 12 hours in a row, right before day 2 of the heads up tournament. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
These comments are great. So wait, it was a bunch of dudes partying all day, right?
What?
Bunch of dudes partying all day long?
Well, I mean, it wasn't much of we were just like, you asked about like sitting on a bed at 5 a.m. and we were just like on a bed, basically. I guess it was a couch/bed. A
couch bed. So you and a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a couch bed, and we all had like a running nose.
What's going on in the couch? What's happening on the bed? What are you guys doing in the bed? He's playing VR? Like, what's happening on the bed? Before VR, right?
We didn't exist back then. We were just pondering life's great mysteries while having a runny nose.
Yeah. Happens. We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there.
I ain't personally been there, but I can understand someone that's been there. Sure.
I think I've evolved as a person. Like I don't really do shit like that anymore. It's probably good for me.
Yeah. We can't even end it on that. Give me like one. I can't end it on that. Come on. I don't want to. Guys in the chat, give me one more thing, and then we gotta take it off. We gotta wrap it up. People told me that Dan Bilzerian was on Joe Rogan's podcast during this.
Really?
Yeah. So I definitely want to watch that.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather watch that.
Bang bang. Let me finally. No, they're not. Ria's finally. No, finally happened on the bed. Was this chat member wants to know? No one's finally anyone in the bed, right?
There might have been like no finally. Yeah, maybe a little back rubbish.
Sure.
It's like we're all friends here. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me take one more last comment from the chat. Let me see if I see anything good out here. F, Mary, Kill, Fatima, Ebony, Kate Hall. For you.
I got on Fee's stream when like Doug was playing Sauce and Fee's left, so I was just like reading through a lot of the Twitch comments or the Twitch whatever the chat. And like, oh man, like I don't know how Doug do it. Like you basically have to like battle through like idiots posting like complete nonsense for hours straight in an attempt to like interact with them in some way that like I could never do it. I was just getting like, I was like, these people are like retarded. What's going on?
Yeah. They are. What about the Viffer versus Deeb? We'll end it on that. Did you read anything about the Viffer Deeb situation that's happening? I don't know much about the specifics. I don't necessarily care really.
I didn't read any of it, but like, I'm pretty sure Viffer scammed Jungle for a bunch of money, and Deeb's pretty trustworthy. So I'm going to conclude that Viffer's probably in the wrong. Well, also, Viffer is just like the shadiest, like the way he deals with things, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, not only does he do stuff that like is probably direct. I mean, like, I'm only basing this off of like my interaction with Jungle and my interactions with him and Jungle. But not only does he go out of his way to, not only does he like steal from you, but he goes out of his way to like rub it in that he can steal from you and there's like no repercussions, or like somehow he's right.
When does he do that?
Like most people, if they're gonna steal, they're gonna like do it and then they're gonna like get the fuck out, you know. But like the whole Jungle thing, they basically had a crossbook he didn't pay, and then he like refused like any arbitration, refused to do anything, and just kept posting in forums, like misspelling words, talking shit to Jungle. Like the fact that someone has the nerve to like steal from someone and then just like talk shit to their face like as they're stealing from them is completely like beyond me. It's definitely like the kind of people that like I want to like avoid when.
Yeah, I remember he told that story on the podcast he talked about that a little bit, about that situation, and what can you do? I don't know.
I actually feel kind of bad for Jungle. Like he gets fucked over. Like people just pick on him in a lot of spots, and he like Jungle's like a pretty good friend of mine, and I feel like a lot of the things he sort of needs to be like more assertive and like stick up for himself, because even though like people think he's like, you know, like kind of weird and kind of autistic and like don't think too much of his personality, he's actually a smart guy. Plus like he's usually right about a lot of the things that he's involved with in terms of like for example, the whole durrrrrr thing. Like he's just getting fucked over there. Like he is owed money, but like he isn't assertive enough to like go out and like make a big deal about it, or it's not within his personality to do that, and therefore like he just gets the short end of the deal, and it happens like constantly to him, and it like some stuff like that like really annoys me. Like I feel like there are a lot of people that purposely take advantage of him for stuff like that, and it just doesn't seem right.
Anything else you know about?
I mean, I know about some other stuff, but like, I don't know if I'm at liberty to talk about. Like, the only thing like really publicized are like the durrrrrr thing, which obviously he's owed like 30K hands of him like beating the fuck out of the durrrrr heads up no limit, or I mean, like his EV in that 30K hands maybe like 10 million right now. Like it might be more than if you're playing 200, 400. Like he might be just like winning at like 30 big blinds per 100 against durrrrr. Like he's still one of the best heads up no limit players, and durrrrr probably couldn't beat like 1-2 heads up no limit right now. So the skill is massive.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we're talking about like egregious sums of money. They're just like stolen from him, and like because he doesn't stick up for himself because of like his personality or whatever, like no one's going to stick up for him, and he just gets fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, yeah, obviously there's been a lot of stories, heard a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's on him to be smarter about putting himself in those situations in the future.
Yeah, but like it's unfortunate that like he's in an industry where like he's going to get people like Viffer, like durrrrrr, who are just, and other people.
Aren't a lot of industries where there's a lot of money involved like that as well? There's always going to be people like that in the industry.
Yeah, but in a lot of industries, it's more of like a collaborative effort where you're not in the industry, or you're not in it on your own, you know? Like I think poker is unique in terms of if you work any other job, you have people working like with you, or you have a sort of synergistic effect where there are multiple people trying to achieve the same goal. Where I mean, we talked about like a lot of this stuff earlier, but in poker, it's a competitive game that's zero sum, or nowadays it's like negative sum. I don't know what you call it, but like for you to be winning, there needs to be someone losing even more. And then like people take this approach that should only really be applied to poker and use it in their own exploits.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Durr can offer this amount of money for a heads up action, and if he's better than the guy that challenges him, like in the Antonius case, I guess he won that, then he just like wins millions. If he doesn't, he just like quits and like disappears. There's no recourse.
Just ends it, man. All right, let's end the podcast there. I'm actually gonna go hiking right now. Yeah.
You've been going hiking? I've been going hiking a bunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hiking in the mountains behind me right now, and but I've been going a little adventuring, a little hiking, a little outdoorsman.
It's cold. It looks cold. You better put something over the shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should. I do this thing where I'm trying to warm my body temperature up and get myself more accustomed to the cold. So I like to put myself in situations where I'm gonna be cold to get myself used to it.
Okay, reasonable.
That's
it. Calling it a day. I think this really will be the end of it, though. Like I wasn't kidding.
What about the Entrepreneur Life podcast? We'll have you on that.
We'll see. But like, I don't know. I just
why it's so fun. You don't have fun? They're fun.
I'm just chatting about stuff. But like for example, you hit me up and like you had like a list of topics you want to talk about, and they're all like poker related controversial topics, and obviously I'm gonna have like some opinion on them, and I don't know, I'm getting like an increasing amount of disdain for like the people in the poker world, like even more so than before. Like I think like most people are just like beneath me to a point where like I don't really need to interact with them or like talk with them or like give them my opinion or explain to them like why they're wrong or what they're doing is wrong, you know? So it's just like sort of unnecessary for me to like educate people about a lot of the shortcomings within the poker world or within like themselves as players when like I have no emotional attachment or any attachment to them, nor do I want any attachment to them. I mean, that's how I feel. It sounds harsh, but like I don't want to be the guy that comes in here and then like 6 months later, I'm still like bashing Jamie Staples for being fat. And that's not what I want to do in my life, you know? I mean, I know I don't have to do that, but like.
Well, if we do it again, we'll make sure we talk about some topics that aren't poker related to that extreme. Those will be out. We'll figure out some other more GTO topics that we're both doing. Because I mean, I'm kind of.
If this happens again though, like, and if you send me like a docket.
You can tell me what you want to talk about. All you got to say is be like, let's talk about this. I'd be like, okay.
The Poker Life podcast. We just like always talk about like poker shit. And then
I had my little brother on. We talked about self-esteem when it comes to picking up 17-year-old girls. I'm telling you, anything goes in the podcast. It doesn't have to be poker related.
Next time we'll figure out like some non-poker topics. And
that's what I'm saying. I'd want to talk. Believe me, I'm like, my interests aren't necessarily poker right now anyway. It's not even what I talk about except on the podcast.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right. Maybe we'll do the GTO Life podcast.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. I think that'd be fun.
Let me know when you start up the GTO Life podcast.
I will. I kind of want to start it, but I know people aren't going to understand what the fuck GTO means. So it's like the one problem with starting the podcast, but starting the series called the GTO Life. God, what a great series that'll be. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. There'll be timestamps on the description. Find the podcast on iTunes. Back tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, with a young man named Grimstar, who's this kid from New York City and legend in the online poker world for sure. Friday with my buddy Dylan, longtime PLO player, works for a startup right now in California. Grew up one of the smartest kids I know. You guys will like him if you like smart people. Next week, William Kassouf on Monday night. Joe McKeon next week sometime. Next week after that, Kenny Halyard, November 9er, and we're going to get a couple of November 9ers. That's it. You want to follow J-Mo on Twitter? I'm not telling you because he doesn't want you. He doesn't want you interacting with him. He doesn't want to hear from you fucking peasants that are beneath him. Right? Right?
Right? Yeah, right.
Right. All right, guys.
I agree.
Out of here. Peace out, everybody. Be back tomorrow. See you later.